Chapter 386. A smile could topple a nation. The northern mountain town was a peaceful town in the North Sea state. It was located in the middle of a beautiful mountain valley. Yi Chunfeng and his group left the desolate swamp. After several days of traveling, they found this quiet town. They rented an empty courtyard and settled down here for a rest. Qingfeng, it's all thanks to you this time. Thank you for everything you've done for the Fu clan, Fu Yue said gratefully. If it wasn't for Yi Chunfeng, Fu Qingshan and the rest would have lost their lives under the encirclement of the experts from the two major forces. Senior sister, you're treating me like an outsider. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, Do you still remember our agreement? Maybe one day I'll need your help. Don't worry, Chunfeng, I will always remember this promise. If you ever need my help, I, Fu Yue, will not hesitate even if I have to climb a mountain of swords or dive into a sea of fire. Fu Yue nodded and solemnly promised. That's right. I really don't know how to repay your kindness. I hope that one day, we'll be able to do something for you. Fu Qingshan, who had basically recovered from his injuries, walked over and said slowly. By the way, senior sister, third Uncle Fu, what are your plans for the future? Yi Chunfeng asked. We haven't thought of a place to stay yet. Fu Qingshan shook his head and said. Senior sister, third Uncle Fu, if you really don't have a good place to stay, I can provide you with a safe place where the West Devil sect won't be able to find you. Yi Chunfeng pondered and said. Where? Fu Qingshan's eyes lit up. As long as he could find a good place to stay and had enough time to cultivate, he was confident that he could break through the shackles of the Reverse Beast King realm and become an emperor. An island in the North Sea. When I was chased by the Heavenly Fire sect, I fled there. Yi Chunfeng briefly told Fu Qingshan and the rest about the situation on Three-Star Island. An island in the North Sea. It's a good choice. Fu Qingshan nodded lightly. I have a good relationship with the island master of Three-Star Island. If you go, she can provide you with a lot of convenience. Also, there's a chaotic ocean a few thousand miles away from Three-Star Island. In the center of the chaotic ocean is Massacre City. If third Uncle Fu wants to go through life and death training to stimulate your potential, you can go there. Yi Chunfeng then told Fu Qingshan and the others about the chaotic ocean and the chaotic ocean. However, he hid the fact that he was a titled sword god and that he had a conflict with the king of Massacre and the others. Massacre City. I didn't expect there would be such a good place in the North Sea. When Fu Qingshan learned more about Slaughter City from Yi Chunfeng, his eyes immediately lit up. He had no doubt that as long as he trained in Slaughter City for a few years, his strength would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. You, third elder, let's go to Three-Star Island. Fu Qingshan suggested, seeking everyone's opinion. Qingshan, you can make the decision on this matter. We have no objections. The Fu clan's third elder, who had just survived the calamity, slowly said. I don't have any objections either. Fu Yue took a deep breath and glanced at Yi Chunfeng. Since no one has any objections, we'll go to Three-Star Island immediately. When we come back, I'll destroy the Western Devil sect with my own hands. Fu Qingshan nodded and swore. Third Uncle Fu, this is a massacre order. It can let you enter the Massacre City. Yi Chunfeng handed a massacre order to Fu Qingshan. Thank you. Fu Qingshan didn't stand on ceremony and kept the massacre order that Yi Chunfeng handed to him into his heaven and earth ring. Qingfeng, the Fu clan is destroyed. I don't have anything valuable on me. This 100 crystal primeval chaos diagram was one of the treasures of the Fu clan. Although it's damaged now, it's the most valuable thing on me. I'll give it to you. Fu Qingshan took out the severely damaged 100 crystal primeval chaos diagram from his heaven and earth ring and gave it to Yi Chunfeng. If you can repair it, unless you encounter an emperor-level powerhouse, a peerless king-level powerhouse won't be able to break it. Defense Array. Looking at the 100 crystal primeval chaos diagram in his hand, Yi Chenfeng's eyes lit up. Although he noticed that the 100 crystal primeval chaos diagram was severely damaged, Yi Chenfeng had the God-Eater brain and could repair it. Other than the 100 crystal primeval chaos diagram, I'll give you this teleportation stone as well. It can activate a teleportation array in the northern spirit region's Cloud Dragon Mountain to the western continent. Fu Qingshan took out another teleportation stone and gave it to Yi Chenfeng. Thank you, third Uncle Fu. Yi Chenfeng thanked him softly as he kept the 100 crystal primeval chaos diagram and the teleportation stone. Compared to your life-saving grace, this is nothing. Oh right, Chenfeng, I heard from you that you've comprehended the first heaven of the Sword Tao and the first heaven of the lightning concept. Are you interested in sparring with me? Fu Qingshan suggested with a smile. I couldn't ask for more. Yi Chenfeng said without hesitation. Ha! Fu Qingshan laughed heartily and said, let's go. Let's find a place to spar. After speaking, Yi Chenfeng and Fu Qingshan flew out of the northern mountain town. They came to the depths of the mountains and found a secluded valley to spar. Their comprehension of concepts and soul skills continued to deepen as they fought each other every day. They learned extremely valuable things from each other. All good things must come to an end. Chenfeng, we're preparing to leave for the 3-star island in the North Sea tomorrow morning. I hope we'll meet again. Fu Qingshan said softly after spending 10 days in the northern mountain town and sparring happily every day. Don't worry, third Uncle Fu. We'll definitely meet again. Yi Chenfeng replied with a smile. Oh right, Chenfeng, how are you going to deal with the collusion between the Ice Palace and the Western Devil Sect? Fu Qingshan asked. I'm going to inform the Ethereal Mountain and let them make a decision. Yi Chenfeng was prepared to go to the Ethereal Mountain to find Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia to check on them. That was why he brought this important news over. Chenfeng, the matter of the Ice Palace and the Western Demon Sect secretly colluding with each other is not simple. I have a premonition that there are other powers in the northern spiritual region that are involved in this matter. You must be extremely careful and not fall into their trap. Fu Qingshan solemnly reminded. Don't worry, third Uncle Fu. I know what I'm doing. Yi Chenfeng nodded and said. That's good. Fu Qingshan nodded and said, Oh right, Chenfeng. Yu is looking for you. She's waiting for you in the room. Okay, I'll go now. After speaking, Yi Chenfeng went to Fu Yue's room. Chenfeng, we're leaving tomorrow. Can you accompany me to the mountain peak to look at the stars tonight and watch the sunrise with me tomorrow morning? Fu Yue, who was wearing a black martial arts suit, had a tall figure and a unique temperament. She revealed a rare charming expression as she looked lovingly at Yi Chenfeng and asked softly. Okay. Looking at Fu Yue's exquisite face, Yi Chenfeng nodded and left the courtyard hand in hand with her. They went to the mountain peak at the back of the mountain and waited for the night to come. A cool breeze blew past and the sky was filled with stars. The beautiful night made people feel relaxed and happy. Yi Chenfeng and Fu Yue leaned close to each other and looked up at the mysterious starry sky. Neither of them spoke, but they felt the aura from each other's body. After an unknown amount of time, a red sun jumped out of the sea of clouds and lit up the entire sky. So fast it's morning. Looking at the red sun in the distance, Fu Yue, who had been sitting quietly for the whole night, stretched lazily, showing off her beautiful curves. Chenfeng, I'm leaving. You must take good care of yourself. Don't let anything happen to you. Fu Yue turned her head and looked at Yi Chenfeng's chiseled face. She was reluctant to part with him. Don't worry, senior sister. In this world, no one can take my life. Yi Chenfeng smiled and said confidently. Chenfeng, can you call me Yue in the future? Fu Yue blinked her beautiful big eyes and looked at Yi Chenfeng and asked softly. Okay, Yue. Yi Chenfeng nodded and said softly. Hearing Yi Chenfeng call her name, the corners of Fu Yue's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a charming smile that could topple cities. Let's go down the mountain." With that, Yi Chunfeng and Fu Yue walked down the mountain side by side. Their shadows grew longer and longer under the sun's rays. Finally, they overlapped with each other. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 387. In danger. After parting with Fu Yue, Fu Qingshan, and the rest, Yi Chunfeng didn't immediately head to the northern spirit region's Misty Mountain. Instead, he went to the Sky Connecting Pavilion in North Sea City to find the plump lady and ask about the reward. Has your pavilion obtained evidence of the Ice Palace colluding with the Western Devil Sect? Yi Chunfeng sat in the back hall of the Sky Penetrating Pavilion and took a sip of the fragrant spirit flower tea. He looked at the beautiful woman who exuded a mature charm from head to toe. In order to obtain evidence of their collusion, my Sky Connecting Pavilion lost 11 experts. Fortunately, we succeeded at the last moment. As she spoke, the plump lady handed a memory stone to Yi Chunfeng. Many thanks. After receiving the memory stone from the beautiful woman, Yi Chunfeng immediately released his soul force into it to check the contents of the memories. However, the moment his soul entered the memory stone, the seemingly harmless memory stone exploded and released thousands of black threads of light. They drilled into Yi Chunfeng's head at a speed that was hard to see with the naked eye and attacked his soul. Not good, suddenly attacked. Yi Chunfeng immediately felt a splitting headache. Thousands of black threads tore at his soul, and large amounts of blood flowed out from his 7 orifices. God-Eater Brain, devour! Enduring the soul-tearing pain, Yi Chunfeng immediately controlled the God-Eater Brain to quickly devour the black threads and protect his soul. Buzz buzz! Just as the God-Eater Brain was devouring crazily, the plump lady with a complicated expression quickly escaped from the back hall. Immediately after, a terrifyingly powerful formation enveloped the entire sky-reaching pavilion, trapping Yi Chunfeng inside. Miya, did the plan succeed? A red-faced old man in a white robe asked softly. He was a Class 5 Defiant Beast King and had a thin body and a long beard. He was a Class 5 Defiant Beast King and was looking at the beautiful woman who had escaped from the Pavilion of Transcendence. Beside the red-faced old man, there were more than 10 experts with dense auras. From their auras, they were all absolute Beast Kings. One of them was even more terrifying than the red-faced old man and was suspected to be a rank 6 Defiant Beast King. Pavilion Master, that person's soul has been severely injured. You can start now. The plump woman took a deep breath and steadied her somewhat flustered mind. She walked to the front of the red-faced old man and squeezed out a charming smile as she spoke softly. You did well. This is your reward. Beside the red-faced old man, an old man in a dark green robe with hair like withered grass suddenly opened his mouth, revealing a mouthful of disgusting yellow teeth as he spoke. Suddenly, a dark green snake the size of a finger drilled out of his mouth. Before the plump woman could react, it broke through her forehead and drilled into her brain. As she screamed in pain, it quickly devoured her brain. Seeing her miserable and pained appearance, and hearing her tragic cries, many of the sky-reaching pavilion experts felt their backs go numb. They looked at the green-robed elder with eyes full of fear. In less than 2 breaths, the plump woman's brain was devoured by the snake. She lay motionless on the ground with blood flowing out of her 7 orifices. Pavilion Master Su, please don't mind her. The identity of the person your sky-reaching pavilion trapped is probably not simple. She also knew too many things that she shouldn't know, so I could only kill her. Otherwise, once this matter was exposed, it would be very troublesome, the green-robed elder said emotionlessly as he recalled the snake. Venerable snake is too polite. This Mia was too daring, using my sky-reaching pavilion's channels to facilitate that person. She ruined your plan, so her death is not enough to be regretted. The red-faced old man concealed the anger in his eyes very well and sighed helplessly in his heart. The reason why the sky-reaching pavilion had chosen to deal with Yi Chunfeng without regard for their reputation was because they had no other choice. Originally, the sky-reaching pavilion had successfully obtained evidence of the West Demon Sect and Ice Palace's secret collusion through the channels they had cultivated for several hundred years. However, they had unfortunately been discovered by the people of Snake Valley, another mysterious force that the West Demon Sect had secretly colluded with. Not only had they failed at the last step, but they had also fallen into a desperate situation. Under the pressure of the West Demon Sect, Ice Palace, and Snake Valley, the sky-reaching pavilion, which had suffered heavy casualties, had no choice but to reveal the truth and choose to cooperate with them to plot against Yi Chunfeng. "It's good that you can think like that." Mo Lihai, one of the 3 protectors of the West Demon Sect, had once been injured by the Chaos Divine Beast. Now that he had completely recovered, he said gloomily, "Now, Pavilion Master Su, please activate the offensive formation. If you can help us kill that person, my West Demon Sect can forget about the crimes your sky-reaching pavilion has committed." "Alright." Pavilion Master Su nodded helplessly. He took out a crystal-like array plate and reflected it in the sky-reaching pavilion, activating the strongest offensive formation of the sky-reaching pavilion. Suddenly, thousands of offensive formation patterns gathered in the sky-reaching pavilion, forming a huge offensive roulette. It penetrated the roof of the inner hall and enveloped Yi Chunfeng, who had just controlled the God-Eater brain and swallowed the Black Soul strands. "Sky-reaching pavilion, how dare you plot against me?" Looking at the offensive roulette with flowing formation patterns and feeling the murderous aura from the roulette, Yi Chunfeng's eyes revealed a fierce look. He immediately merged with his spiritual beast, the 2-headed Blood Dragon King, and injected powerful soul power into the Heavenly Thunder Battle Armor, activating the strongest defense of the Heavenly Thunder Battle Armor to protect his entire body. God-Eater Brain, break the seal! The power of the God-Eater Brain completely erupted and merged into the sky-reaching pavilion's protective formation. It quickly deduced the evolution of the formation patterns and looked for an opportunity to break the formation. Rumble! At this moment, the sound of an explosion rang out. Lines of murderous formation patterns emerged from the center of the roulette. They were like bolts of lightning, bombarding Yi Chunfeng in a concentrated manner. Sword Puppet Block. Yi Chunfeng quickly summoned the sword puppet, injected a large amount of energy into it, and ordered it to help him block the attacks of the offensive formation patterns. Under the full defense of the sword puppet and the Heavenly Thunder Battle Armor, the offensive formation patterns couldn't pose a threat to Yi Chunfeng. Seizing this opportunity, Yi Chunfeng quickly controlled the God-Eater Brain to deduce the changes of the formation patterns. After the God-Eater Brain quickly deduced for 15 minutes, Yi Chunfeng found an opportunity to break the formation. 10 sword Dao patterns flew out of his body, tore apart the offensive formation patterns, and attacked the northwest side of the sky-reaching pavilion's protective formation with extreme speed. Crack! After being attacked by the 10 sword Dao patterns, cracks appeared on the surface of the protective formation and spread out at a speed visible to the naked eye. What? The moment the protective formation cracked, Pavilion Master Su immediately felt it. His expression changed drastically, and he revealed a look of disbelief. In the next moment, the protective formation's weak point was attacked again. The cracks grew bigger and bigger, causing the entire sky-reaching pavilion to shake. "What's wrong, Pavilion Master Su? What happened?" asked a middle-aged man in a black robe with cloud patterns. His long black hair casually draped over his shoulders, and he exuded a stifling aura. This black-robed man was the great guardian of the West Devil Sect. He was also the strongest existence in the group and had reached the 6th grade Defiant Beast King realm. That person is about to break out of the formation. Pavilion Master Su widened his eyes and looked at the sky-reaching pavilion that was shaking more and more intensely. He still couldn't imagine that the protective formation that had been passed down for hundreds of years would be broken in just 15 minutes. Boom! As soon as Pavilion Master Su finished speaking, the 10-sword Dao patterns turned into a giant thunder sword and pierced through the impregnable sky, reaching Pavilion's wall, creating a huge hole. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng turned into a golden light and shot out of the sky, reaching Pavilion, appearing outside. I underestimated your means, but you won't be able to escape today even if you have wings. Mo Lihai looked at Yi Chunfeng, who had broken the protective formation of the sky, reaching Pavilion, and revealed a sinister expression. He released a dense killing intent and locked onto Yi Chunfeng, not giving him a chance to escape. Ambushed by the West Devil Sect, Snake Valley, and Ice Palace, Yi Chunfeng was in danger again. Mobile reading site. Book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the bookmark button below to record this reading. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 388. So it's you guys. Seeing the ferocious expressions of Mo Lihai and the others, feeling the terrifying killing intent locked onto him, Yi Chunfeng was surprisingly calm and composed. He knew that the more dangerous it was, the calmer he had to be. Otherwise, if he panicked, it would only speed up his death. Tell me where Fu Qingshan and the others are hiding. If you cooperate, I can make the decision to give you a quick death. Otherwise, I will make you regret being born. Mo Lihai said with a ferocious face. Fu Qingshan and the others are in Sea Breeze City. As for whether you can find them, it will depend on your ability. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said proudly. As he spoke, he quickly communicated with the Chaos Divine Beast that was parasitizing the Chaos Divine Wood to heal itself. Hundun, how much strength can you use in your current state? I can still use 3 level 6 Reverse Beast King attack. However, after 3 attacks, I may fall into a deep sleep and won't be able to help you for a while. The Chaos Divine Beast said. Alright, 3 attacks is enough. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and began to control the Black Flame Skyfire, Ancient Cold Mysterious Ice, and Extreme Ancient Purple Lightning. He was ready to use the Wrath of God's punishment to break out of the encirclement. Do you think I will believe your nonsense? Mo Lihai said with a gloomy face, his eyes emitting a terrifying light. Believe it or not, I have already said it. Yi Chunfeng shrugged and said, You are indeed brave. With your courage and talent, you should not be from the Northern Spirit region. Mo Longyuan, the great guardian of the West Devil Sect, was the strongest among them. He was a level 6 Reverse Beast King. He looked at the unruly Yi Chunfeng and felt that his identity was not ordinary. Where do you think I am from? Yi Chunfeng's sharp eyes met Mo Longyuan's as he asked coldly. I am not interested in your identity. However, I would like to make a deal with you. As long as you tell us the location of the Fu family's remaining members and come with us to the Ice Palace as a guest for a period of time, I promise not to hurt you. Mo Longyuan said slowly. What if I don't agree? The corners of Yi Chunfeng's mouth curled up slightly as he asked arrogantly. Motherf *Ker, don't be so shameless. We can crush you as easily as crushing an ant. If you don't cooperate, I will let you taste all the pain in the world. Mo Lihai gradually lost his patience and cursed out loud. Haha, if your Western Devil Sect doesn't want to disappear from the Duhan continent, then go ahead and attack. Yi Chunfeng laughed and said arrogantly, I'm not afraid to tell you that my family members are already on their way here. When they arrive, I want to see whether you will die or I will. Just as Yi Chunfeng's words sounded, Mo Longyuan, Mo Lihai, and the rest's expressions changed. What they were most afraid of was that Yi Chunfeng had a terrifying background. If Yi Chunfeng really came from a super holy land, then they really wouldn't dare to do anything to Yi Chunfeng. However, they weren't willing to let go of the Fu family. They were even more worried that Yi Chunfeng or the Fu family would announce their secret cooperation and ruin their long-planned plan. Which continent are you from? Which family are you from? Mo Longyuan asked with a gloomy face. His deep eyes stared at Yi Chunfeng, trying to discern whether he was telling the truth from his expression. I wanted to tell you just now, but you didn't want to know. Now, I don't want to say any more. Taking in everyone's expressions, Yi Chunfeng knew that his fake identity had made them all apprehensive, which greatly increased his chances of breaking out. Looking at Yi Chunfeng's mocking eyes, Mo Longyuan and the rest's faces turned gloomy. The muscles at the corner of their eyes couldn't help but twitch. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Grasping everyone's apprehension, Yi Chunfeng was about to leave. Wait, before your family arrives, you can't leave. Mo Longyuan stood in front of Yi Chunfeng and looked at him with a sharp gaze as he said, not allowing him to refuse. Why? You want to imprison me? Yi Chunfeng frowned slightly. Looking at Mo Longyuan, who was blocking his path and emitting a powerful aura, he asked coldly. You can think of it that way. Mo Longyuan said domineeringly. Good. I'll send a message to my family members now and ask them to come and pick me up. At that time, I'll teach you a lesson. Yi Chunfeng said angrily. He took out a communication pearl from his universe ring and sent a message to it, angrily rebuking Mo Longyuan and the rest for their evil deed. Great Guardian, this brat's background can't be that big, right? Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who was fearless and constantly scolding them into the communication pearl, Mo Longhai couldn't help but worry. Although the Western Devil Sect was the overlord of the Western continent, and the Ice Palace and Snake Valley were both 6th-grade sects, compared to some of the superpowers in the Duhan continent, they were still too far away. There's no need to panic. We didn't hurt him. Instead, he killed an elder of our sect. At that time, even if his family comes, we don't have to be afraid. Mo Longyuan said calmly. Just as Mo Longyuan and the rest were communicating, Yi Chunfeng, whose face was red with anger, intentionally distanced himself from them. 30 meters, 50 meters, 80 meters, when Yi Chunfeng was 100 meters away from Mo Longyuan and the rest, he suddenly summoned his golden rock wings and ignited his golden rock bloodline. He turned into a streak of golden light and flew out of the North Sea City at a speed that couldn't be seen with the naked eye. Not good, that brat ran away. Let's chase. Seeing Yi Chunfeng suddenly running away, Mo Longyuan and the rest were stunned for a moment. Then, they condensed their soul wings and chased after him. What fast speed! In less than an incense's time, the 6th-grade reverse beast King Mo Longyuan had caught up to Yi Chunfeng. His powerful killing intent locked onto him, and his shocking speed made him feel troubled. Wrath of God's punishment. When Mo Longyuan attacked, Yi Chunfeng blasted out the wrath of God's punishment that he had prepared long ago. It crushed the void and collided with Mo Longyuan's huge hand. Boom! A powerful explosion resounded in midair. The terrifying energy storm was like the waves of the sea. It rolled in midair and engulfed Mo Longyuan and the others who were in hot pursuit, slowing down their speed of pursuit. Wind riding technique. Mo Longyuan and the rest were affected. Yi Chunfeng immediately used the wind riding technique to increase his flying speed. He drew a streak of light in the air and flew out of the North Sea City, heading towards the northwest of the North Sea region. Brat, you won't be able to escape. Just as Yi Chunfeng flew into a complicated mountain range in the northwest of the North Sea state, an angry roar sounded. Mo Longyuan was chasing after him at an extremely fast speed. Level 6 Defiant Beast King is indeed terrifying. Hearing the loud roar, Yi Chunfeng continued to use the wind riding technique to increase his flying speed. He shuttled through the lush mountain range, trying his best to get rid of Mo Longyuan's pursuit. However, Mo Longyuan's flying speed was too fast. Soon, he closed the distance between him and Yi Chunfeng. powerful huge hand seals bombarded Yi Chunfeng, slowing down his flying speed. Chaos attack. When Mo Longyuan caught up with Yi Chunfeng at an extremely fast speed, a terrifying beast roar rang out from Yi Chunfeng's body. The rolling sound waves were like a crazily running dragon, fiercely bombarding Mo Longyuan. Boom! A deafening explosion rang out. Mo Longyuan was suddenly attacked by the strongest beast roar of the Chaos Divine Beast. He was careless for a moment and was sent flying. A trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. When Mo Longyuan used his powerful strength to forcibly suppress the surging blood qi in his body, Yi Chunfeng had already flown far away. "Brat, I will catch you no matter where you go," Mo Longyuan said fiercely. He ignored the injuries on his body and continued to chase after Yi Chunfeng. He was determined to capture him alive. For mobile users, please visit Chapter 389. Damn it, why is this Mo Longyuan like a maggot? I can't get rid of him no matter how hard I try. Yi Chunfeng originally thought that the roar of the Chaos Divine Beast could help him get rid of Mo Longyuan's pursuit. However, 2 hours later, Mo Longyuan caught up with him again and slowly closed in on him. "Boss, that old fellow's flying speed is much faster than yours. With your speed, you won't be able to get rid of him. Why don't we join hands and kill him before the others catch up?" The Chaos Divine Beast suggested. "Alright, let's make a bet. At most, I will burn another 1,000 years of my lifespan." Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and decided inwardly. He quickly looked for a place to make a move. After about an incense stick's worth of time, Yi Chunfeng discovered a steep canyon. His eyes lit up as he dove down and rushed into the steep canyon. Seeing Yi Chunfeng flying into the canyon, Mo Longyuan quickly chased after him and followed Yi Chunfeng to the bottom of the narrow canyon. "Why aren't you running anymore?" When they arrived at the bottom of the canyon, Mo Longyuan unexpectedly found that Yi Chunfeng didn't escape anymore. He stood on a hard rock in silence and waited for him. Mo Longyuan frowned slightly, looked around, and asked coldly. Yi Chunfeng quickly drank a mouthful of the water of heavenly fate to recover his consumed soul force and said coldly, "I feel that this place is not bad. It's very suitable to be your grave." "Ha ha ha, you want to kill me with just your strength?" Mo Longyuan seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world as he laughed and said disdainfully, "Roar." While Mo Longyuan was laughing, a high-pitched dragon roar suddenly sounded. The two-headed blood dragon king appeared on Yi Chunfeng's body and hovered above his head, roaring loudly at Mo Longyuan. "Dragon!" Looking at the two-headed blood dragon king and feeling the terrifying dragon aura emitted by it, Mo Longyuan's brows slightly twitched. "Seems like your background is not small, but it's a pity that no one can save you here. Even if I kill you, no one will know that I did it," Mo Longyuan said with killing intent. He had made up his mind to kill Yi Chunfeng and solve this hidden danger. "We don't know who will die yet." After saying that, Yi Chunfeng ignited his dragon bloodline again, forming 5 killing halos, and continued to increase his strength. After using so many trump cards, Yi Chunfeng instantly gained the strength of a 3rd-grade Beast King. However, Mo Longyuan was a 6th-grade Beast King. Even if Yi Chunfeng's strength increased tremendously, there was still a huge gap between them. "Interesting, really interesting. I didn't expect you to have such a trick up your sleeve. Seems like I'll be able to gain quite a lot from killing you." Feeling Yi Chunfeng's sudden increase in strength, Mo Longyuan was not surprised but delighted. He showed great interest in his cultivation inheritance. 100 Souls Blood Demon Blade. The Qianquan ring on Mo Longyuan's finger flashed, and a blood-red blade appeared in his hand. When he held the 100 Souls Blood Demon Blade in his hand, his aura became sharp, bringing great pressure to Yi Chunfeng. "Boss, be careful. There's something mysterious about the heaven artifact in that old man's hand. If I'm not wrong, there are hundreds of powerful souls sealed in that demonic blade, which can amplify his attack power," the chaotic divine beast warned. The West Demon Sect is indeed a 7th-grade saint ground. Their foundation is indeed not simple. Yi Chunfeng muttered to himself with a solemn expression. Kid, let me send you to hell. Mo Long Yuan's eyes flashed with killing intent. With the 100 Souls blood demon blade in his hand, he turned into a hurricane and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng with a force that could split the heavens and earth. 9 heavens 8 trigrams formation. When Mo Long Yuan attacked, Yi Chunfeng decisively took out the 8 trigrams formation and enveloped Mo Long Yuan, who was close to him. Then, Yi Chunfeng summoned the sword puppet and used its indestructible body to block Mo Long Yuan's destructive slash. Bam! Mo Long Yuan's slash landed heavily on the body of the sword spirit puppet, instantly exhausting 1/10 of its energy. However, its body was not injured in the slightest, and it had completely blocked Mo Long Yuan's attack. Feeling the rebounding force from the 100 Souls blood demon blade, Mo Long Yuan raised his eyebrows and revealed a look of horror. In the next moment, the 9 heavens 8 trigrams formation was activated. 999 offensive runes gathered to form the 8 trigrams formation and bombarded his body, forcing him to divert his attention to block it. However, the 9 heavens 8 trigrams formation was damaged by Mo Hun's self-explosion, which greatly affected its offensive power. Hence, the terrifying Mo Long Yuan managed to block the attack. Sword-based Dao pattern, Fire Dragon destroys the world, 9 sword slash. While Mo Long Yuan was tearing apart the offensive runes with his strength, Yi Chunfeng made his move. 10 sword-based Dao patterns shot out from his body and gathered in the king weapon. He slashed out 9 flaming dragons that were baring their fangs and brandishing their claws, and bombarded Mo Long Yuan. Mo Long Yuan's eyes narrowed when he saw the 9 flaming dragon sword shadows that were formed by the sword-based Dao pattern. He continuously slashed out more than 10 slashes. It was as though there were layers of huge waves in the sea, overlapping one another endlessly. They fiercely slashed at the flaming dragon sword shadows and forcefully broke the 9 sword slash. 9 heavens 8 trigrams formation increased the attack power. The moment the 9 sword slash was broken, Yi Chunfeng increased the attack power of the 9 heavens 8 trigrams formation and ferociously attacked Mo Long Yuan. He was trying his best to suppress Mo Long Yuan's attack. Brat, I have to admit that you are the most talented young man I have ever seen. But it is a pity that your cultivation level is too low. Even if you have comprehended the first heaven of the sword Dao and possess a high-grade heaven artifact, you are still powerless. Mo Long Yuan's slash tore apart the 9 heavens 8 trigrams formation's attack and started to counterattack. He continuously slashed out with his saber aura, which was like a temperamental wave that surged towards Yi Chunfeng. Feeling the intense killing power from the layers of saber sea, Yi Chunfeng decisively ordered the sword puppet to rush up and use its body to neutralize the power of the saber sea. As for himself, he leaped up high. The spirit pearl in his Shenmen acupoint burst out with 3 million gene of strength and poured all of it into the king weapon. Thunder and sword Dao patterns revolved around his body. A terrifying thunderstorm swirled within the 9 heavens 8 trigrams formation. 7 swords of judgment, thunder devour. With a slash, the killing power, sword Dao patterns, thunder Dao patterns, and 3 million gene of strength quickly gathered and condensed into an invincible giant thunder sword. It tore apart the saber sea that was bombarding the sword puppet and slashed towards Mo Long Yuan. Great demon slaying dragon blade. Mo Long Yuan's reaction was extremely fast. Before the giant thunder sword slashed towards him, he immediately reacted. The rolling saber aura turned into a pitch-black demonic dragon and slashed on the giant thunder sword. It set off a huge wave in the 9 heavens 8 trigrams formation, causing the formation to tremble violently. 9 heavens 8 trigrams formation, 9 layers heavy pressure. As a large amount of destructive power spread out, Yi Chunfeng suddenly increased the spatial pressure of the 9 heavens 8 trigrams formation. He suppressed the destructive power and bombarded it towards Mo Long Yuan. It heavily bombarded his body, causing his blood and qi to tumble and causing him to suffer light injuries. Seems like I have to get serious. Mo Long Yuan took in a deep breath and suppressed the surging blood and qi energy in his body. He circulated the heavenly incantation of the Western Devil sect at a high speed, raising his strength to the limit. With a single slash, he tore apart the surging destructive power and rapidly closed in on Yi Chunfeng. Blood-refining demonic blade. As he approached Yi Chunfeng, the 100-soul blood demonic blade in Mo Long Yuan's hand let out a bone-chilling ghost cry. A blood-red blade shadow slashed down heavily towards Yi Chunfeng, who was defending with all his strength. Kacha! Yi Chunfeng's defensive sword shadow shattered, and the blood-smelt devil's saber viciously chopped down on the ruler armament. A powerful destructive force passed through the ruler armament and into Yi Chunfeng's body, directly sending him flying. His body heavily slammed into the wall of the 9 Heavens 8 trigrams formation, and a large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. For mobile users, please visit Chapter 390. Boss, do you need me to attack? Sensing that Yi Chunfeng was injured, the Chaos Divine Beast, who had been waiting for an opportunity, asked anxiously. Now is not the time. Let's wait. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and responded. He immediately executed the concept of life and condensed 10 life Tao patterns in his body, quickly recovering his injuries. In the blink of an eye, Yi Chunfeng's injuries were stabilized by the 10 life Tao patterns. His damaged meridians and body were recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Sensing that Yi Chunfeng's injuries were recovering rapidly, Mo Long Yuan revealed a surprised expression. He was shocked by Yi Chunfeng's endless methods. Dragon bloodline, burn all of it! Beast soul form. At this critical moment, Yi Chunfeng no longer concealed his strength. He burned all of his dragon bloodline and transformed into his strongest beast soul form. What? Beast soul form? Seeing Yi Chunfeng's body double in size and covered with a thick layer of blood dragon scales, a dragon helmet appeared on his head, and an ancient rune flashed on his forehead. A dragon tail appeared behind him. Mo Long Yuan's heart was in turmoil. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Why is he able to execute the ability that only Emperor-level experts can use when he is only a rank 6 mystic beast ancestor? How did he do it? Just as Mo Long Yuan was in shock, Yi Chunfeng, who had transformed into his beast soul form and reached the rank 4 reverse beast king realm for a short period of time, made his move. His physical strength had increased to 4 million jin. The power of slaughter, 4 million kilograms of force, and the sword Tao patterns gushed into the king weapon as he struck out 81 consecutive sword strikes. Each sword strike had the power to pierce through the void and shatter mountains as it enveloped Mo Long Yuan. 100 battles blood shadow. Like the rolling sea, the endless sword shadows attacked. Mo Long Yuan's body surged with a large amount of blood light as he quickly brandished the 100-soul blood demon blade to block. However, this time, Mo Long Yuan wasn't as calm as before. Every time he blocked Yi Chunfeng's sword shadow, his arm would feel a trace of numbness. Over time, his entire arm was numb. Double sword chop. Just as Mo Long Yuan was about to use his superhuman strength to tear apart Yi Chunfeng's sword wave, the sword spirit puppet, who was burning a large amount of energy, closed in on Mo Long Yuan. Wielding a pair of low-grade heaven artifact-level swords, it ferociously attacked Mo Long Yuan, scattering his attacks. Facing the sudden attack of the sword puppet, Mo Long Yuan abruptly raised his left hand, and a large palm imprint filled with the power of destruction ferociously imprinted on the 2 swords of the sword puppet, forcibly blocking his attack. 8 trigrams formation fall. At this moment, the 8 trigrams formation diagram formed by the offensive runes fell down again, continuing to disperse his attacks. Break. After being continuously attacked, Mo Long Yuan was enraged. A terrifying energy burst out from his body, slamming into the 8 trigrams formation, forcibly shattering the 8 trigrams formation. Judgment 7 Swords, Waning Moon. Taking advantage of Mo Long Yuan's distraction, Yi Chunfeng executed his killer move. Sword and lightning Dao patterns surged out from his body, fusing with the power of slaughter and the power of the dragon's blood to form the Waning Moon Sword Slash. The terrifying power seemed to be able to split the heaven and earth as it slashed towards Mo Long Yuan, whose expression changed slightly. Boom! A huge explosion resounded, and the entire space trembled. Mo Long Yuan's all-out defense was broken by Yi Chunfeng's trump cards and his killer move. Mo Long Yuan's entire body suffered a heavy blow, and he was sent flying. A large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. Mo Long Yuan didn't even dream that as a rank 6 defiant beast king, he would be injured by Yi Chunfeng, who was one realm lower. Without giving him a chance to catch his breath, the sword puppet and the 8 trigrams formation diagram continued to attack him, aggravating his injuries. Without a choice, Mo Long Yuan took out the extremely valuable blood devil bug that was unique to the Western Devil sect and quickly swallowed it, forcibly increasing his strength. To be able to force me to eat the blood devil bug, you can be proud even if you die, Mo Long Yuan said with a gloomy expression. Disgusting blood bumps appeared all over his body, and the energy in his body forcefully resisted the attacks of the sword puppet and the 8 trigrams formation diagram. Wrath of God's punishment. The moment the 8 trigrams formation diagram was shattered by Mo Long Yuan's slash, the black flame sky fire, ancient cold mystic ice, and ancient extreme purple thunder surged out from Yi Chunfeng's body. They gathered into a tricolored destructive light ball and blasted towards Mo Long Yuan like a meteor. Myriad transformations Black Lotus. Feeling the destructive power contained in the wrath of God's punishment, Mo Long Yuan immediately opened his mouth. Billowing demonic aura gathered into a slowly blooming black lotus and crashed towards the wrath of God's punishment. Boom! A thunderous explosion resounded, and the 9 heaven 8 trigrams formation diagram shook violently. The two destructive forces violently repelled each other, and a billowing energy storm swept across the surroundings. 9 heaven 8 trigrams formation diagram, suppress. While the tide-like energy was rampant, Yi Chunfeng continued to control the 9 heaven 8 trigrams formation diagram to suppress the space, and the destructive energy storm bombarded Mo Long Yuan's body. Great Demon Slaying Dragon Slash. Within the storm, Mo Long Yuan, whose blood and chi were surging, quickly slashed out a slash. The billowing demonic aura and blood aura blended together and turned into a demonic dragon-like blade. It directly tore apart the destructive energy storm and the 8 trigrams formation diagram suppression, and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng without any reduction in power. Wind Riding Technique. When the demonic dragon slash arrived, Yi Chunfeng's movement speed instantly soared. Like a gust of wind, he dodged the attack of the great demon slaying dragon slash. However, the severely damaged 9 heaven 8 trigrams formation diagram could not withstand the attack of the great demon slaying dragon slash, and a clear crack appeared on it. Chaos Divine Beast, prepare to attack, break all the blood lumps on his body. Yi Chunfeng did not let the Chaos Divine Beast attack for a long time because he wanted to deal with Mo Long Yuan's sudden increase in strength after eating the Blood Devil Bug. Although the Blood Devil Bug unique to the Western Devil sect could increase one's strength for a short period of time, the blood lumps were a fatal weakness. Once the blood lumps were broken, Mo Long Yuan's strength would be greatly reduced. Thunder Flash. Lightning flashed under Yi Chunfeng's feet. He took a risk and approached Mo Long Yuan, whose strength had increased to the limit. Die for me. When Mo Long Yuan saw Yi Chunfeng daring to approach him, he did not waste this opportunity and immediately used the Blood Devil Blade. The blood-red 100-soul Blood Devil Blade carried a shocking destructive power as it slashed toward Yi Chunfeng. 2 million kilograms of power. Facing Mo Long Yuan's fatal strike, Yi Chunfeng didn't dodge. He channeled 4 million gene of strength, the 5 killing halos, and the power of the dragon blood into his king weapon, using all his strength to defend against Mo Long Yuan's attack. Boom! The moment the two heaven artifacts collided, an earth-shattering power erupted, and a powerful repulsive force passed through the two heaven artifacts and into their bodies. After a head-on collision, both of them were heavily injured. Yi Chunfeng's arms were badly injured, and his flesh was lacerated. His meridians and internal organs were severely injured. Primal Chaos Roar. At this moment, the Chaos Divine Beast let out a fatal roar and attacked Mo Long Yuan at close range. The Chaos Divine Beast had the strength of a level 6 heavenly beast. Its full-strength roar was extremely powerful. At such a close range, it was enough to kill a level 5 reverse beast king. Furthermore, Mo Long Yuan was hit by the recoil, and his body's defense was extremely weak. His body took the Chaos Roar head-on, and his body's defense was immediately shattered. The blood lumps on his body kept breaking, and a large amount of sticky blood flowed out. Roar. After the roar, the Chaos Divine Beast continued to attack. It used its last bit of strength and let out another world-shaking roar. Like a surging tsunami, it slammed into Mo Long Yuan's body. Being continuously attacked by the most powerful roar of the Chaos Divine Beast, all the blood lumps on Mo Long Yuan's body were shattered. His sky-grade battle suit was dented, and his body was severely wounded. Like a kite with a broken string, he crashed heavily into the wall of the Nine Heavens 8 diagrams formation. The powerful impact directly broke the wall, which was full of cracks, and he fell outside. Brat, the next time I see you, I will definitely kill you. With his body heavily injured and his internal organs damaged, Mo Long Yuan knew that if he stayed any longer, he would not be able to survive. After leaving behind those words, he endured the injuries on his body and forcefully condensed his soul wings and flew away. HTL Mobile Reading Site. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 391. Early in the morning, a thin layer of rose-colored sunrise appeared in the east. A ray of light shone through the haze and illuminated a nameless snowy mountain. Phew, I've finally recovered. In a hidden ice cave in the depths of the snowy mountain, Yi Chunfeng was enveloped in the Tao pattern of life. After nearly 10 days of recuperation, he had basically recovered from his heavy injuries. A level 6 Defiant Beast King is indeed terrifying. If it weren't for Hun Dun's help, with my strength and trump cards, I would only have a chance to heavily injure him by using the Life Spirit art. However, it would be impossible to kill him. In the battle with the level 6 Defiant Beast King, Yi Chunfeng's meridians and internal organs were severely injured. Dozens of his bones were even broken. This made him deeply feel the gap between their realms. After recovering from his injuries, Yi Chunfeng immediately flew out of the nameless snowy mountain. He followed the map of the northern spirit region and flew to the Misty Mountain. He wanted to tell Shui Piaoling about the West Demon Sect, Ice Palace, and Snake Valley's secret collusion so that she could report it to the Misty Mountain. Everyone, hurry up. After passing through the northern vast snowy mountain, we will arrive at the northern spirit region. At dawn, a seemingly ordinary caravan entered the northern vast snowy mountain at the border of the North Sea state with a large amount of goods. They moved quickly on the winding mountain road. Hiss! Just as the caravan entered the depths of the snowy mountains of the northern wilderness, a series of hissing sounds suddenly rang out from the snow-covered mountain forest. Hundreds of colorful demon snakes, several meters long, drilled out from the silent snowy forest and surrounded the caravan. Snakes, so many snakes. Looking at the snakes that were emitting the aura of death, the caravan members' faces changed. Their eyes were filled with panic. Kakik, Zhou Shirtong, where are you going by pretending to be a caravan? An old man who was as thin as a matchstick, had strangely large eyes and long white hair like weeds. He wore a dark green robe and walked out of the snow forest. He looked at the panicked people in the caravan and said in a hoarse voice, "Venerable Flowery Snake, my Zhou clan does not wish to participate in the dispute between you and Misty Mountain. I hope that the Venerable will be magnanimous and let us go. As long as the Venerable is willing to let us go, the Venerable can freely choose from the treasures of my Zhou clan." The head of the Zhou family, Zhou Shirtong, looked at one of the 8 venerables of the Snake Valley, the level 3 reverse beast king Venerable Flower Snake, and pretended to be calm. "There's no need to go through so much trouble. Once I kill all of you, everything in your Zhou clan will be mine." The Venerable Flower Snake opened his mouth, revealing his ink-black teeth as he spoke ferociously. "Venerable, please take into account that my Zhou family has always been loyal to the Snake Valley. I beg you to let us go. I swear to the heavens that my Zhou family will never reveal the cooperation between the Snake Valley and the Western Devil Sect. We only want to live in anonymity for the rest of our lives." Zhou Shirtong became more and more panicked as he looked into Venerable Viper's eyes and thought of his vicious methods. He pleaded in a pleading tone, "I only believe in dead people. However, seeing that your Zhou family is still loyal, I will give you a quick death. I won't torture you." Venerable Flower Snake was unmoved by Zhou Shirtong's pleading. He spoke with a murderous intent. "Wait, Venerable Flower Snake, my Zhou family is willing to help the Snake Valley deal with the Misty Mountain." Zhou Shirtong compromised in the face of death. Too late. Venerable Flower Snake was unmoved. He let out a strange sound from his mouth, and ordered the hundreds of demonic snakes to attack Zhou Shirtong and the rest. Snake Valley, Misty Mountain. Just as the Zhou family was in a desperate situation and was being bitten by the hundreds of demonic snakes, Yi Chunfeng coincidentally flew above the northern snow mountain. He released his powerful soul spirit and felt Zhou Shirtong's shout. He revealed a surprised expression. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng suddenly sped up and turned into a golden afterimage in the air, flying over at an extremely fast speed. Rumble! The ancient purple lightning spewed out from Yi Chunfeng's body and turned into a violent thunder that filled the sky. It bombarded the hundreds of demonic snakes that were biting Zhou Shirtong and the rest. In the blink of an eye, the demonic snakes that were comparable to level 1 heavenly beasts were smashed into minced meat by the ancient purple lightning. Their charred bodies scattered all over the ground. "Who is it?" Venerable Flower Snake, who had a cruel smile on his face, suddenly discovered that the demonic snakes that he had carefully raised were killed in the blink of an eye. The smile on his face instantly froze, and a thick murderous aura was emitted from his skinny body. In the next moment, a golden light flashed in front of his eyes. An oppressive force that made him feel suffocated descended from the sky, carrying with it a shocking airflow that bombarded his chest. Venerable Flower Snake, who was a level 3 heavenly beast king, instinctively reacted to the sudden attack. His soul spirit surged out of his body and gathered at his chest, forming a defensive vortex to block the sudden attack. Great Sun Heavenly Fire Fist. Yi Chunfeng instantly fused with the power of the two-headed Blood Dragon King and activated the soul spirit in his Shinmen acupoint. He poured the black flame Heavenly Fire into his fist and blasted out a shocking Dao skill. The fist that was burning with Heavenly Fire and contained 1.5 million kilograms of force smashed through the defensive vortex like crushing dry weeds and smashed viciously on Venerable Flower Snake's chest. PFFF. After facing the Great Sun Heavenly Fire Fist head-on, the supreme-grade Earth artifact battle armor that Venerable Flower Snake was wearing immediately shattered. A torrent of violent energy surged into his body, collapsing his chest and injuring his meridians. He was sent flying by the punch, and hot blood spurted out uncontrollably from his mouth. Sword-type Dao pattern break. After sending Venerable Flower Snake flying with one punch, 10 sword-type Dao patterns shot out of Yi Chenfeng's body and pierced into Venerable Flower Snake's body at a speed that was hard to be seen with the naked eye. They crushed all his meridians and penetrated his heart, directly crippling him. This sudden scene completely stunned Zhou Shitong and the rest. Looking at Venerable Flower Snake lying in a pool of blood and howling in pain, Zhou Shitong and the rest felt as though they were in a dream. It was unreal. Ancient cold mystic ice freeze. After crippling Venerable Flower Snake with lightning speed, Yi Chenfeng immediately released the ancient cold mystic ice and froze his body. He slowly turned around and looked at the stunned Zhou Shitong and the rest with reverence in their eyes. He said indifferently, "I have a question for all of you. I hope you can answer me truthfully." "Senior, please speak." Zhou Shitong bowed slightly and said respectfully to Yi Chenfeng, who was wearing a human skin mask, "Tell me what you know about the cooperation between the Western Devil Sect and the Snake Valley." Yi Chenfeng ordered without any room for objection. This, after hearing Yi Chenfeng's question, Zhou Shitong's expression changed slightly. He immediately lifted his head and looked at Yi Chenfeng. When he met Yi Chenfeng's sharp eyes, his heart trembled inexplicably. "Remember, I want to hear the truth. If you dare to lie to me, don't blame me for being impolite." Looking at Zhou Shitong's uncertain expression, Yi Chenfeng warned him coldly. "Father, the Snake Valley has already exterminated our Zhou clan. There is no need for us to help them hide their secret." At this moment, a petite lady in a long emerald green dress walked to Zhou Shitong's side and spoke softly. "If I tell you the truth, will you let us go?" Zhou Shitong made up his mind and looked at Yi Chenfeng's sharp eyes as he asked. "Sure." Yi Chenfeng nodded. "Thank you." After receiving an affirmative answer from Yi Chenfeng, Zhou Shitong took a deep breath and told him everything he knew. "Do you have any evidence of the secret collusion between the Snake Valley and the Western Devil Sect?" Yi Chenfeng continued to ask after unexpectedly obtaining a lot of important information. "No, our Zhou clan doesn't dare to keep any evidence that would bring trouble to us." Zhou Shitong shook his head and said, "All right, you can go now. Whether you can escape the pursuit of the Snake Valley in the end will depend on your luck." Yi Chenfeng did not press Zhou Shitong any further. He took the unconscious Venerable Flower Snake, who had been frozen into an ice sculpture, into the air and flew away at an extremely fast speed. For mobile users, please visit Chapter 392. The first rays of the morning sun shone brightly in the east. The dark sky shook off the black veil and ushered in a brand new day. Natural Moat Misty Mountain was a huge mountain range that stretched for thousands of miles in the northern part of Misty Mountain. The mountain range had a complex terrain with towering ancient trees, a large number of demon beasts, and a large number of spirit herbs. Every day, a large number of Misty Mountain disciples would form groups and enter the heavenly moat Cloud Mist Mountain. They would hunt the demonic beasts within the mountain and search for precious spirit herbs. While tempering themselves, they would also carry out sect missions to exchange for the points they needed for cultivation. Qingxue, how do you think Qingfeng has been in the past 4 years? What realm has he cultivated to? 2 tall and beautiful figures appeared in Natural Moat Misty Mountain. These two were Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia, who had a close relationship with Yi Chenfeng. After cultivating in Misty Mountain for 4 years, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia's strength had greatly improved. Both of them had cultivated to the 6th grade Earth Beast General Realm. They were only 1 step away from mutating their spirit beasts and breaking through to the Heavenly Beast Immortal Realm to become Misty Mountain's inner disciples. Although they were only 1 step away from the Heavenly Beast Immortal Realm, it was not easy to cross this step. In order to exchange enough cultivation resources to break through to the Heavenly Beast Immortal Realm, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia took the risk to come to Natural Moat Misty Mountain to carry out sect missions. They hunted the 6th grade 5-colored poisonous python and brought back their poisonous fangs to exchange for point. Qingfeng. He should have broken through to the heavenly beast immortal realm long ago, Ji Qingxue muttered to herself. Thinking back to the past, Ji Qingxue blamed herself and regretted her actions. She regretted that she had hurt Yi Qingfeng even more. Sigh, if only Qingfeng could come to Misty Mountain with us to cultivate. With Qingfeng's talent, he could definitely become a core disciple, and our situation would not be so difficult. Bai Xia sighed softly. She could not help but miss Yi Qingfeng. Hiss. As the two girls talked, they went deeper into the heavenly moat cloudy mist mountain. As they walked, ear-piercing hisses entered their ears. Through a lush thicket, they found a strange snake that was more than 10 meters long. It was as thick as a bucket, and its entire body was brightly colored. It had a pair of small fleshy wings on its neck. Not good. This is a 5-colored poison-winged python. Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia's expressions changed drastically when they saw the colorful python hovering in the bushes. They recognized the strange snake in front of them. It was the evolved species of the 5-colored venomous python, the 5-colored venomous winged python. Its level had surpassed the 6th grade, reaching the 8th grade. It was comparable to a 3rd grade heavenly beast immortal expert. Xia, let's go. Noticing the danger, the two women did not hesitate at all. They wanted to escape from the dangerous bushes as soon as possible. When the two girls turned around to escape, the 5-colored poison-winged python with its scarlet tongue out discovered them. Like an arrow leaving the bow, it flew out of the bushes and opened its bloody mouth to bite Ji Qingxue, who was the closest to it. Snowfall Sword Art. Sensing danger behind her, Ji Qingxue, who had nowhere else to run, turned around abruptly. She quickly brandished her low-grade earth-tier longsword, creating dozens of sharp snowflakes that swept towards the 5-colored poison-winged python like a snowstorm. When Ji Qingxue used her low-grade earth-rank soul skill to attack, Bai Xia did not selfishly run away. She also used her snowfall sword art to attack, trying to force the 5-colored poison-winged python to retreat. Although the snowfall sword art was powerful, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia's strength was too weak. Moreover, they attacked in a hurry, so they were unable to display the true power of the snowfall sword art. The ferocious 5-colored poison-winged python directly pierced through the dense snowfall sword art. Seeing the 5-colored poison-winged python bearing its fangs getting closer and closer, Ji Qingxue was so scared that her face turned pale. Despair appeared in her eyes. Xiao! Suddenly, an ear-piercing sound broke through the air. A dark green spear light pierced through the layers of air and pierced the head of the 5-colored poison-winged python. Chi! The 5-colored poison-winged python's head was pierced through by the sudden appearance of the sharp spear light. A large amount of blood spurted out. Its huge body fell heavily to the ground and died on the spot. My two junior sisters, are you okay? A young man wearing a white martial arts suit, with a tall and straight figure and a gentle smile on his fair face, who was a Class 3 Mystic Beast ancestor, walked over with a 9-foot-9-inch-long snake-headed spear in his hand. Looking at the frightened Ji Qingxue and Bai Xiao, he asked gently. Behind him, there were two Misty Mountain disciples. From the aura emitted by the two, they had both reached the Mystic Beast ancestor realm. Thank you for saving our lives, Senior Brother Gao. Looking at the tall and straight figure of the extraordinary white-robed man, Ji Qingxue, whose face was slightly pale, heaved a long sigh of relief. She squeezed out a smile and softly thanked him. Bai Xia looked at the white-robed man with a trace of disgust in her eyes. This white-robed man was called Gao Yuqin. He was a Class 3 Mystic Beast ancestor and a core disciple of Misty Mountain. His strength could be ranked in the top 30 of Misty Mountain's younger generation. In addition to his extraordinary talent and strength, Gao Yuqin's background was not simple. His grandfather was one of Misty Mountain's 3 protectors, a Class 3 Defiant Beast King expert. It's just a small matter. Junior Sister Ji, you don't have to take it to heart. A faint smile appeared on Gao Yuqin's face as he gently gazed at Ji Qingxue's alluring face, as well as her graceful figure, as he spoke in a soft voice. "Oh right, Qingxue, Xia, why did the two of you come to Misty Mountain?" Gao Yuqin softly asked. "We're here to carry out a sect mission," Ji Qingxue said. "Junior sisters, Misty Mountain is extremely dangerous. With your strength, it's more or less dangerous to train here. Why don't we travel together? This way we can take care of each other if there's an accident." Gao Yuqin very warmly invited them. His gentle tone made it hard for them to refuse. "We appreciate Senior Brother Gao's kindness, but Xia and I are used to traveling alone. We won't travel together with Senior Brother Gao." Ji Qingxue looked at the tall and straight Gao Yuqin with a faint smile and tactfully refused. "All right then." Gao Yuqin wasn't angry that his invitation was rejected. He still revealed a faint smile and said, "I'll give this rattlesnake arrow to Junior Sister Ji. If you encounter any danger, detonate it immediately. If I'm nearby, I'll definitely arrive in time." "Thank you, Senior Brother Gao." Looking at Gao Yuqin's sincere eyes, Ji Qingxue didn't refuse anymore. She put away the rattlesnake arrow and left with Bai Xia. Looking at their departing backs, Gao Yuqin's eyes became colder and colder. In the end, it burst out with a sinister look. "Young Master Gao, this Ji Qingxue doesn't know what's good for her. If young Master Gao is really interested in her, I have 2 bags of medicine here. As long as you feed her, I guarantee that she'll instantly become a slut and beg you to ravage her." Gao Yuqin's companion, a slightly obese man with narrowed eyes, said with bad intentions. "What do you know? Conquering such an arrogant woman is much more interesting than conquering her body." The corners of Gao Yuqin's lips curled up slightly as he revealed a prideful smile. "The woman I've taken a fancy to has yet to escape from my grasp. I will definitely make this Ji Qingxue willingly submit to me. Young Master Gao is brilliant." The slightly plump man narrowed his eyes and flattered, "Young Master Gao, us 2 brothers are very interested in that Bai Xia. Can you give her to us 2 brothers? All right, then I'll give Bai Xia to you. But don't play her to death. When I'm tired of Ji Qingxue, I'll have a taste of her." Gao Yuqin revealed a despicable expression, licked his scarlet lips and said, "Haha, of course, of course." The plump man and his companion said excitedly, "Let's go, we'll follow them. Maybe we'll have an unexpected harvest." After saying that, Gao Yuqin and his companions who had ulterior motives restrained their auras and quietly followed Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia. For mobile users, please visit Chapter 393. Qingxue, the way Gao Yuqin looks at you is a little strange. You have to be careful. Bai Xia looked at the worried Ji Qingxue and softly reminded her. "I know, but this Gao Yuqin is the grandson of Misty Mountain's 3 protectors. He is also a core disciple of Misty Mountain and a 3rd-grade mystic beast sect expert. Whether it is his future or background, he is not someone we can offend." Ji Qingxue sighed softly in her heart and said helplessly, "Why don't we go find Sect Master Xue after we return and ask her to back us up and warn Gao Yuqin?" Bai Xia bit her alluring red lips and said, "It's useless." Ji Qingxue shook her head and said, "Sect Master Xue has already helped us a lot. Moreover, Misty Mountain and West Devil Sect are enemies now. Sect Master Xue is under a lot of pressure. She won't offend the 3 protectors for me." "Then what should we do? I can't just watch you jump into a fire pit," Bai Xia said anxiously. "Xia, don't worry about me." Looking at Bai Xia's anxious expression, Ji Qingxue's heart warmed. She said somewhat resignedly, "I've already gotten over it. If it really develops to that point, I won't let Gao Yuqin have his way even if I die." "What's wrong? Are you guys in trouble?" Just as Ji Qingxue resigned helplessly and Bai Xia was at a loss, a familiar voice suddenly entered their ears, causing their bodies to stiffen. Without looking with their eyes or using their soul perception, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia were certain that this voice belonged to the Yi Chen Feng that they had been yearning for day and night. Qingfeng is here. He came back to find us. Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia suddenly turned around and saw Yi Qingfeng in a white martial arts suit. His figure was tall and straight, and his eyes were shining with a sharp light. He was carrying a human-shaped ice sculpture and slowly walked towards them. Qingfeng, looking at Yi Qingfeng's familiar face, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia felt as if they were in a dream. Hot tears instantly covered their beautiful faces as they rushed towards Yi Qingfeng and hugged him tightly, as if they wanted to melt into his body and never be separated from him. "All right, stop crying. Tell me, who bullied you? I'll avenge you." Yi Qingfeng inserted the frozen venerable flower snake into the hard mountain ground. He gently hugged their soft bodies and buried his head in their ears as he asked, "No, no one bullied us. We are fine." The two girls were not clear about Yi Qingfeng's current strength. They were afraid that he would clash with Gao Yuqin, so they did not tell him the truth. Just as the three of them were hugging each other tightly in the forest, Gao Yuqin and the other two who had been quietly tailing them appeared. When Gao Yuqin saw Ji Qingxue and Bai Xiao, whom he had secretly decided to be his women, hugging a strange man in the depths of the forest, a towering rage exploded in his chest. Motherf **Ker, who is that person? Gao Yuqin looked at Yi Qingfeng with eyes that were spitting fire as he asked while gnashing his teeth. "I don't know, that person shouldn't be from our misty mountain." The chubby man and the other two shook their heads and said, "You dare to steal my women, I will make you regret being born into this world." After Gao Yuqin and the other two spoke, they revealed their true faces and walked towards Yi Qingfeng aggressively, radiating a baleful aura. "Not good, Qingxue, Gao Yuqin and the others are here." Seeing Gao Yuqin and the other two from the corner of her eyes, Bai Xia's heart tightened. She immediately transmitted her voice to Ji Qingxue. "Don't be afraid, leave them to me." When Gao Yuqin and the other two appeared, Yi Qingfeng's powerful soul had already sensed them. Looking at the two girls' nervous expressions, Yi Qingfeng guessed the reason and said softly, "Don't Qingfeng, that Gao Yuqin's background is not small. He is also a rank 3 mystic beast sect expert. You are not his match." Ji Qingxue and the other two girls did not understand Yi Qingfeng's strength. They were afraid that something would happen to him, so they grabbed his clothes tightly and said, "Why? You don't believe in my strength?" Yi Qingfeng revealed a confident smile and said, "Don't worry, nothing will happen. Motherf **Ker, let go of your dirty hands that are hugging them. Otherwise, I will not be polite to you." The chubby man narrowed his small eyes and warned Yi Qingfeng loudly, "Song Yu, what are you trying to do?" Feeling the murderous aura emitted from the chubby man, Ji Qingxue and the other two girls immediately stood in front of Yi Qingfeng and questioned loudly, "So it's a gigolo?" Looking at the two girls' actions, the corner of Gao Yuqin's mouth curled up slightly and revealed a trace of ridicule. He said, "I have my eyes on these two girls. If you don't want to die, kneel down obediently and crawl under my crotch. Then, get lost as far as you can. Otherwise, this day next year will be your death anniversary." "How dare you?" Looking at Gao Yuqin, who had shed all pretense of cordiality, Ji Qingxue and the other two girls' expressions changed drastically. They warned loudly, "Gao Yuqin, if you continue to be presumptuous, we will immediately return to Misty Mountain and complain to Sect Master Shui." Ji Qingxue, Bai Xia, don't be so shameless. I have my eyes on you because you are convinced. If you don't know what's good for you, then don't blame me for being ruthless. Gao Yuqin revealed a ferocious expression and said fiercely, "Also, don't expect anyone to come and save you. Here, it's useless even if you shout until your throat is hoarse." "Gao Yuqin, you are shameless." Ji Qingxue and the other two girls were so angry that their faces turned pale. Their hearts were filled with panic. "I am shameless? Ha, I have something even more shameless." Gao Yuqin laughed arrogantly and said, "Song Yu, feed those 2 packets of medicine to the 2 little beauties." "Medicine? Gao Yuqin, what are you trying to do?" Seeing the lecherous look in Song Yu's narrowed eyes, Ji Qingxue and the other two girls panicked, and their faces turned pale. When you eat these 2 packets of medicine, you will know what I am trying to do, Gao Yuqin said ferociously. As for you, I will wait for you to finish watching this good show before taking your dog life. Song Yu, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and feed the 2 little beauties the medicine. Little beauties, I spent a lot of money to buy these 2 packets of medicine. After eating them, I guarantee that you will feel like you are floating in the air and want to die. Song Yu said with a lascivious smile, and walked towards Ji Qingxue and the other 2 girls, who were pale with fright. However, Yi Chunfeng was completely ignored by him. However, he did not realize that Yi Chunfeng had a memory stone hidden in his hand that was recording everything that was happening in front of him. However, when he approached Yi Chunfeng, a violent, and vicious murderous aura suddenly emitted from Yi Chunfeng's body and blasted into his body, making him feel as if he had fallen into hell. All the hair on his body stood on end. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng moved with a gloomy expression. Like a flash of lightning, he appeared in front of him and snatched the 2 packets of medicine powder from his hand. With a slap, he flew out and fell into a lush shrub in the distance. His vision turned black and he fainted. What? Song Yu was a grade 1 mystic beast sect expert. Seeing the scene of him being sent flying by Yi Chunfeng with a slap, the smiles on Gao Yuqin and the other 2 girls' faces froze. Gao Yuqin, right? No one can save you today. Yi Chunfeng looked at Gao Yuqin with a cold gaze. He had already sentenced him to death in his heart. Step by step, he walked over. Falling cloud palm. Feeling the pressure from Yi Chunfeng's body, Gao Yuqin roared and instantly fused with the power of his spiritual beast, imprinting the ethereal mountain's inherited soul skill. An extremely powerful palm light with a powerful airflow blasted towards Yi Chunfeng's chest. Break! Yi Chunfeng roared and the power of his physical body erupted. He punched out towards the falling cloud palm. The terrifying fist force directly penetrated the falling cloud palm and bombarded Gao Yuqin's chest without any reduction in power. This punch sent him flying. His entire chest collapsed and a large amount of blood and internal organs sprayed out from his mouth. Witnessing the scene in front of them, not only were Ji Qingxue and the other girls dumbfounded, even the tall man beside Gao Yuqin was dumbfounded. He could not believe what was happening in front of him. Just as the tall man opened his mouth wide, and before he could recover, Yi Chunfeng flicked his finger and a packet of medicine powder entered his mouth at lightning speed. It flowed down his throat and entered his body. Cough, cough, cough. The tall man knew the power of the medicine powder. A small half packet was enough to make him lose himself, and a whole packet was enough to burn his body to death. He hurriedly circulated his soul power, wanting to force the medicine powder out of his body. At this moment, Yi Chunfeng appeared beside him in a flash and released ancient frost mystic ice to freeze his body, not giving him a chance to force out the medicine powder. Gao Yuqin, it's your turn. Do you want to taste this medicine powder? The corners of Yi Chunfeng's mouth curled up slightly. He looked at Gao Yuqin, who was vomiting blood and struggling to get up from the ground, and walked over step by step. Seeing Yi Chunfeng walking over step by step, the seriously injured Gao Yuqin was terrified and warned loudly, what do you want to do? I'm warning you, my grandfather is one of the 3 protectors of the ethereal mountain. If you dare to hurt me, I guarantee that my grandfather won't let you off. I see that your desires are quite strong, so I'll help you vent it. Yi Chunfeng revealed a cold smile. Ignoring Gao Yuqin's resistance, he fed half a packet of medicine powder into his mouth and released a wisp of ancient purple lightning to penetrate his meridians. Wait for me here, I'll be back soon. After feeding the medicine powder, Yi Chunfeng immediately controlled the ancient frost mystic ice to freeze Gao Yuqin's body, who was howling in pain. As the medicine began to take effect, Yi Chunfeng walked towards the bushes where Song Yu fell and fed the last of the medicine powder into the mouth of the unconscious Song Yu. The 3 of you enjoy yourselves. Yi Chunfeng waited for the medicine in Gao Yuqin and the other two's bodies to take effect and lose themselves. He released the ice seal, revealed a faint smile, and turned to leave. Soon, strange sounds could be heard from the bushes. Broken chrysanthemums, wounds everywhere. Mobile users, please visit Chapter 394. Let's go. We'll find a quiet place to talk. When Yi Chunfeng returned, he saw Ji Qingxue. Bai Xia's face was rosy, and she looked very beautiful. She looked at him shyly and smiled. Qingfeng, Gao Yuqin and the others will be fine, right? Thinking of Gao Yuqin's identity, Ji Qingxue asked worriedly. I've already cut off their life force. When they finish venting the flames in their hearts, they will die, Yi Chunfeng said indifferently. This Qingfeng, this Gao Yuqin is a core disciple of Misty Mountain, the only grandson of the three protectors. If something happens to him, the three protectors will definitely go crazy. At that time, you will be in great danger. Ji Qingxue didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to be so daring and said in a fluster. Don't worry. Who can prove that I did this? Yi Chunfeng said indifferently, All right, don't worry. Even if the sky falls, I will hold it up. Nothing will happen. With that, Yi Chunfeng summoned the golden rock wings and released a strand of soul thread to pull out the frozen venerable flower snake from the ground. He hugged Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia in his arms and turned into a beam of golden light, flying away. In the heavenly moat Misty Mountain, he found a secluded valley and entered. Qingfeng, you've broken through to the realm of peerless kings? After flying into the valley, the two girls saw the dazzling golden rock wings behind Yi Chunfeng. The feathers were like sharp swords and emitted a heart-shaking demonic power. Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia were shocked and felt a strong sense of defeat in their hearts. Not yet, but soon. Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile and said, Come, this is a gift for you. With that, Yi Chunfeng took out 2 white jade bottles and gave them to the two girls. What a strong medicinal fragrance. Qingfeng, this shouldn't be an earth-grade soul pill, right? Ji Qingxue and the other girl uncorked the bottle. Immediately, a strong medicinal fragrance wafted out from the porcelain bottle, making them feel refreshed. Yes, there are 10 pills in this bottle. All of them are top-grade earth-grade soul pills. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, It's really an earth-grade soul core. Xia, there's hope for us to break through to the heavenly beast immortal realm. Holding the white jade porcelain bottle given by Yi Chunfeng, the two girls could not help but feel excited. They had taken a huge risk to come to the heavenly moat Cloud Mist Mountain to hunt the 5-colored poison python precisely to accumulate points and exchange them for earth-rank soul pills to break through to the heavenly beast immortal realm. If you absorb these 10 earth-rank soul pellets well, it'll be enough for you to break through to the profound beast ancestor realm. Looking at the two girls' excited expressions, Yi Chunfeng knew that they hadn't had a good time these past few years. Come, I have other gifts for you. With that, Yi Chunfeng took out a set of top-grade earth-grade soul art, heaven-grade soul art, soul skill, and 2 universe rings and gave them to them. Looking at the treasures given by Yi Chunfeng, Ji Qingxue and the other girl had a surreal feeling. Even the core disciples of Misty Mountain didn't have these treasures. Their hearts couldn't calm down for a long time. Qingfeng, how did you get so many treasures? Bai Xia took a deep breath, suppressed the excitement in her heart, blinked her big eyes, and looked at Yi Chunfeng and asked. These treasures are the spoils of war I got from killing enemies. Yi Chunfeng said softly, Come, sit down, I'll help you absorb the earth-grade soul pellets and mutate your spiritual beasts to break through to the heavenly beast immortal realm. And Ji Qingxue and the other girl nodded obediently, sat on the slightly damp ground, and took 2 high-quality earth-grade soul pellets. With Yi Chunfeng's help, they refined and absorbed the pellets and mutated their spiritual beasts. Just as Ji Qingxue and the other girl were trying to break through to the heavenly beast immortal realm, someone found the bodies of Gao Yuqin and the other 2 entangled together in the bushes and immediately sent the news back to Misty Mountain, causing a huge commotion. What, Yuqin is dead? He died on a man's stomach? Hearing the news, Gao Zhongyan, one of the 3 protectors of Misty Mountain, fell into a daze. A towering anger emitted from his skinny body, and the atmosphere in the room became unprecedentedly oppressive. Who is it? Who is so bold to kill Yuqin and humiliate him like this? I'm going to exterminate 9 generations of his family. Gao Zhongyan roared furiously, his blood-red eyes shooting a terrifying light. No, I don't know. When we went there, Yuqin and the other 2's bodies had already stiffened. Furthermore, the murderer is very cunning and did not leave any traces, making it impossible for us to find them. Seeing Gao Zhongyan, who had sunk into madness, the Misty Mountain disciple who came to report the news gulped. A layer of cold sweat appeared on his forehead as he spoke in fear. However, according to our investigation, there were no external forces that entered Heavenly Moat Misty Mountain during the few days when Yuqin was killed. I feel that the one who killed Yuqin and the others is very likely a Misty Mountain disciple. Feeling Gao Zhongyan's viciousness getting stronger and stronger, the panicked disciple hurriedly spoke. Misty Mountain disciple. Gao Zhongyan's brows emitted a thick viciousness as he said in a sinister voice, "Investigate it for me. Give me the list of Misty Mountain disciples that have been training in Heavenly Moat Misty Mountain recently. I want to personally find the murderer and avenge Yuqin." Yes, 3rd Protector. The disciple let out a long sigh of relief and immediately retreated to investigate. No matter who the murderer is, I will definitely tear you into pieces and avenge Yuqin. Gao Zhongyan's eyes flickered with a thick baleful aura, like a venomous snake, incomparably sinister. Screech. Hiss. 3 days passed in a flash. With Yi Chunfeng's unstinting help, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia completely absorbed the medicinal power of the 2 earth-rank soul elixirs. The spiritual beasts in their minds began to mutate. Low beastly roars could be heard incessantly, attracting many powerful demonic beasts. However, when the demonic beasts sensed the murderous aura emanating from Yi Qinfeng's body, they were like mice that had seen a cat. They were so frightened that they trembled all over and fled into the lush forest. Sigh, Qingxue, Xia's foundation is too weak. Her cultivation foundation is too weak, and there are too many impurities in her body. Seeing that Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia were still unable to break through after absorbing the earth-rank soul elixirs, Yi Chunfeng immediately took out a demon crystal bone and released the black flame Skyfire. He melted it, dispelled the powerful demonic aura, and refined it into a pure spirit liquid, which he fused into the 2 women's bodies. After fusing with the demon crystal bone essence liquid, the spirit chi in the 2 women's bodies became more abundant, stretching the meridians all over their body. Great pain spread throughout their bodies, and a large amount of impurities seeped out of their bodies along with sweat. Hold on, you will be able to break through soon. If you give up now, all your efforts will be in vain. Looking at the 2 women's unbearable pain, Yi Chunfeng immediately lowered his voice and transmitted it into their ears to encourage them. About 6 hours later, when the 2 women faintly couldn't hold on and were about to collapse, Ji Qingxue's spiritual beast, Ice Bird, and Bai Xia's spiritual beast, White Snake, had fused with enough energy and finally completed the mutation. In the next moment, the soul power in their bodies began to transform. Soon, the blue soul power in their bodies transformed into purple soul power, and they successfully broke through to the 1st level Heavenly Beast Immortal Realm. Breakthrough, we finally broke through. Feeling the skyrocketing soul power, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia let out a long sigh of relief, revealing a look of great surprise. The pain in their bodies was also swept away. Looking at the 2 women's excited faces, Yi Chunfeng smiled and said softly, "There is a deep pool in the northwest. You 2 can go there to consolidate your realm and wash off the filth on your body. Tomorrow morning, we will return to Misty Mountain." Okay. The 2 women nodded and held back the excitement in their hearts, quickly consolidating their realm. At the same time, because of the death of Gao Yuqin and the other two, the entire Misty Mountain was in an uproar, and even Shui Piaoling was alarmed. But during the troubled times of Misty Mountain, Shui Piaoling didn't want to become enemies with Gao Zhongyan's lineage. She warned him a little and let him investigate the cause of Gao Yuqin's death. Who else? Who else didn't come back from heavenly Moat Yunwu Mountain? After 4 days of investigation, Gao Zhongyan, who couldn't restrain his anger, questioned. According to our investigation, the disciples who went to heavenly Moat Yunwu Mountain to train, except for Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia from the outer sect, have all returned. Outer sect disciples? Gao Zhongyan frowned slightly and said fiercely, "Inform me when they come back. I will personally interrogate them." "Yes, third protector." The Misty Mountain disciple obeyed and immediately left. In less than half an incense's time, the Misty Mountain disciple who just left hurriedly ran back and reported, "Third protector, according to our people, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia have returned and are at the mountain gate. Other than the two of them, there is also a young man who came back with them, and that person is suspected to be an expert from the Mystic Beast sect." Okay. Hearing the disciples' report, Gao Zhongyan, who was full of killing intent, suddenly stood up and summoned his soul wings. He flew towards Misty Mountain's gate at an extremely fast speed to stop Yi Chunfeng and the other two. For mobile users, please visit Chapter 395. The Misty Mountain was the #1 mountain peak in the northern spirit region. The mountain range was endless. Some were majestic, some were verdant and beautiful, some were shaped like coiling dragons, and some were as majestic as tigers. The mountains were connected and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth gathered. The highest peak reached the clouds. Looking from afar, it gave off an otherworldly feeling. "Qingxue Xia, don't be nervous. Relax, nothing will happen." When they arrived at the foot of Misty Mountain, Yi Chunfeng noticed that Ji Qingxue and Xia's faces were pale. Their expressions were unnatural. The two girls nodded and took a deep breath, trying their best to relax. "Stop, Misty Mountain does not allow outsiders to enter." When Yi Chunfeng carried the human-shaped ice sculpture and arrived at the entrance of Misty Mountain with the two girls, the disciple in charge of guarding the entrance immediately stopped him and loudly reprimanded him. "Senior apprentice brothers, Qingfeng is our friend. He is here to find Sect Master Shui. Please make an exception." Ji Qingxue revealed a charming smile and softly said, "Do you think the Sect Master is someone who can meet anyone?" The disciple who was wearing a white martial arts suit and had an arrogant expression on his face warned coldly, "If he doesn't leave, don't blame us for being rude to him. Qingfeng, why don't you wait here for a while? We'll go find Sect Master Shui and tell her that you're here." Thinking of the rules of Misty Mountain, Ji Qingxue and Xia also revealed a trace of helplessness and softly suggested, "That's fine. Tell Sister Piaoling that I have something important to discuss with her." Yi Chunfeng nodded and agreed. Just as the two girls hurriedly entered Misty Mountain, Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul suddenly sensed a vicious aura rapidly approaching. He slightly frowned and like a bolt of lightning, he entered Misty Mountain and grabbed Ji Qingxue and Xia's arms. "Audacious, you dare to trespass into Misty Mountain!" When the two disciples saw Yi Chunfeng suddenly barge in, they immediately became angry and loudly reprimanded him. But before they could finish their words, an aura that made them feel fear surged into their bodies. They were so frightened that they swallowed their words back into their stomach. "What's wrong, Qingfeng?" Looking at Yi Chunfeng's grim expression, Ji Qingxue and the other two girls sensed that something was amiss and asked nervously, "An expert is coming. His target is very likely to be us." Yi Chunfeng's eyes were as sharp as swords as he looked into the distance. He saw a blurry figure flying towards them at a speed that was difficult to discern with the naked eye. In less than 3 breaths, Gao Zhongyan descended from the sky. He was wearing a black martial arts suit with cloud patterns. His face was covered with wrinkles, and his entire body was emitting a dense killing intent. He appeared in front of Yi Chunfeng and the other two. Three protectors. With a layer of cold sweat on his forehead, the restless gatekeeper saw Gao Zhongyan suddenly appear and let out a long sigh of relief. He immediately stepped forward and bowed respectfully. "Let me ask you, did you kill Yu Qin?" Gao Zhongyan's eyes flashed with a ferocious light. The muscles at the corner of his eyes were twitching violently. His heart was burning with a raging fire as he stared at Yi Chunfeng and the other two. He went straight to the point and questioned them. As soon as Gao Zhongyan's voice fell, Yi Chunfeng's face did not show any abnormality. However, Ji Qingxue and the other two girls, whose hearts were not firm, revealed a strange expression. This was caught by Gao Zhongyan's sharp eyes. "I don't know what you're talking about." Yi Chunfeng also noticed the panic in Ji Qingxue and the other two girls' eyes. He sighed helplessly in his heart and said indifferently, "I don't know." Gao Zhongyan said coldly, "Do you think that I can't do anything to you if you don't admit it? If you fall into Ai's hands, I can make you remember everything from your previous life." Three protectors, don't slander us. What does Gao Yuqin's death have to do with us? If you dare to harm us, I guarantee that Sect Master Shui will punish you severely. Ji Qingxue pretended to be calm and said, "You still say that Yuqin's death has nothing to do with you." Gao Zhongyan stared fiercely at Ji Qingxue and said, "If Yuqin wasn't killed by you and you knew about his death, shouldn't you be very surprised and not trying to defend yourself?" "That's right, I killed him. What can you do about it?" Yi Chunfeng knew that this matter could not be hidden anymore. However, he was not afraid and asked firmly, "So it really was you? You have big guts, even daring to kill my grandson. Today, I will skin you alive to avenge Yuqin." Gao Zhongyan's body emitted a thick murderous aura, locking onto Yi Chunfeng. "Today, I finally know what it means to be a snake and a rat in the same nest." Yi Chunfeng stabbed the human-shaped ice sculpture into the hard ground. With a thought, he summoned the sword puppet and ordered it to protect Ji Qingxue and the other two girls. With heavy steps, he walked step by step towards Gao Zhongyan, who was filled with murderous aura, and the constantly increasing physical strength in his body directly scattered the murderous aura released by Gao Zhongyan. Seeing Yi Chunfeng walking over step by step and feeling his constantly increasing physical strength, Gao Zhongyan's face changed slightly. It was as if Yi Chunfeng's every step was stepping on his chest, making him feel very uncomfortable. "Spiritual beast, fuse." Gao Zhongyan shouted and instantly fused with his spiritual beast, the three-eyed black wolf, greatly increasing his strength. "Brat, go to hell." Gao Zhongyan took a ferocious step forward. His fist, which was filled with powerful soul power, smashed towards Yi Chunfeng's chest like a meteor, penetrating through the physical pressure that Yi Chunfeng had released. 3,000,000 jin of strength explode. Yi Chunfeng didn't dodge Gao Zhongyan's punch, nor did he fuse with his spiritual beast, the two-headed blood dragon king. Instead, he activated the spiritual bead in his Shunmen acupoint, instantly raising his physical strength to the limit, and punched out. Boom! The two fists collided and immediately erupted with earth-shattering power. Dense ripples appeared in the air, and a large number of cracks appeared under their feet. PFFF. Facing Yi Chunfeng's punch head-on, Gao Zhongyan immediately felt a violent force shatter his fist light and surge into his body, shaking him back and forth. A mouthful of blood spurted out of his mouth. The third protector is injured. Witnessing the scene in front of them, the two gatekeeping disciples widened their eyes and opened their mouths wide. They rubbed their eyes hard, not daring to imagine that the young Yi Chunfeng could actually injure Gao Zhongyan with a single punch. So strong, Chunfeng is actually stronger than the third protector. How did he cultivate? After witnessing Yi Chunfeng's combat strength with their own eyes, the two girls realized how monstrous he was. Such amazing talent couldn't be found even in the Misty Mountain. "Who the hell are you?" Gao Zhongyan took a deep breath and suppressed the surging qi and blood in his body. He said with a gloomy expression. He never thought that the rank 6 mystic beast ancestor Yi Qinfeng's attack power would surpass his own and injure him with a single punch. You don't deserve to know who I am. Yi Qinfeng sneered at him and said tyrannically. Damn it, I will definitely exterminate you today. Gao Zhongyan was completely enraged. He quickly took out a low-grade heaven artifact spear and interweaved a spear light that was as fast as lightning. It pierced towards Yi Qinfeng. Thunderbolt flash. As the spear light pierced over like a swimming dragon, Yi Qinfeng immediately used Thunderbolt flash and turned into a swift lightning. He moved around the mountain path and dodged Gao Zhongyan's tide-like attack. Lion King's roar. When Yi Qinfeng dodged Gao Zhongyan's fierce attack and approached him, Yi Qinfeng suddenly let out a deafening lion's roar and bombarded him at close range. Buzz. Caught off guard, Gao Zhongyan was attacked by the lion's roar. His soul trembled violently, and a large amount of blood flowed out from his 7 orifices. His reaction also became a little sluggish. Seizing this fleeting opportunity, Yi Qinfeng quickly appeared behind him and clasped his neck. He erupted with 3 million gene of strength and forcibly pulled him up like pulling a carrot. He fiercely slammed him on the ground, creating a big pit. Looking at the scene in front of them, the 2 gatekeeper disciples were scared out of their wits. They were very glad that they didn't attack just now. Just when the atmosphere was unprecedentedly tense, several powerful auras appeared and locked onto the mighty and tyrannical Yi Qinfeng. HTL Mobile Reading Site. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 396. Impudent. Who are you? Why did you barge into my misty mountain and injure our 3 protectors? Seeing Gao Zhongyan crawling out of the pit, covered in blood, a level 4 reverse beast king elder glared at Yi Qinfeng and scolded loudly. He was wearing a star and moon martial arts suit. His hair was white, and his eyes shone with a sharp light. He was a level 4 reverse beast king. What a big accusation! Yi Qinfeng fearlessly said, if he didn't offend me, I wouldn't have injured him. As for why I came to Misty Mountain, it's because of Sect Master Shui. I'm here to tell you about the Western Devil Sect's scheme against your Misty Mountain. If you don't want to know, then forget it. And just who are you? Hearing Yi Qinfeng mention the Western Devil Sect, the white-haired old man and the others' expressions changed. Their gazes changed greatly. Wait until Sect Master Shui comes. She'll naturally know who I am. Yi Qinfeng slowly walked over to the frozen venerable flower snake and indifferently said, Okay, wait here. I'll go report to Sect Master. The white-haired old man hesitated for a moment before solemnly exhorting and flying into Misty Mountain. Qingfeng, do you really know about the Western Devil Sect's scheme against my Misty Mountain? The 2 women quickly walked over to Yi Qinfeng and quietly asked. I know a bit. Yi Qinfeng nodded and said, so you don't need to worry about his revenge. If he doesn't know what's good for him, I'll kill him and take you away. Misty Mountain will be left to fend for itself. You. Hearing Yi Qinfeng not give him any face in front of the elders and protectors, Gao Zhongyan was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. He forcefully endured his injuries and wanted to attack again. What, you think I don't dare to kill you? Yi Qinfeng's pupils shrunk into the most dangerous pinholes. Looking at the furious Gao Zhongyan, he asked with killing intent. Looking into Yi Qinfeng's sharp eyes and hearing his cold warning, Gao Zhongyan felt a strong sense of danger. His hand that was holding onto his spear could not help but tremble. Just as Yi Qinfeng was intimidating Gao Zhongyan, Shui Piaoling, who was wearing a dark green dress, her long black hair fluttering in the wind, and her exquisite body exuding an enchanting charm, flapped her soul wings and flew over quickly. Qingfeng, why are you here? When Shui Piaoling saw the tall and straight figure at the entrance of the misty mountain through the layers of clouds, she was stunned and revealed a look of shock. After hearing the white-haired elder's report, several figures flashed through Shui Piaoling's mind, but she did not think of Yi Qinfeng. After all, when she had separated from Yi Qinfeng had just reached the Earth Beast General Realm. Now, only 4 years had passed. Sister Piaoling, I'm here. Looking at Shui Piaoling's familiar face, thinking about how she had secretly helped the Zijin kingdom, Yi Qinfeng smiled and said softly, Sovereign, do you really know him? The white-haired elder looked at Yi Qinfeng with an unfriendly expression and asked coldly, He's a friend of mine. Shui Piaoling took a deep breath, suppressing the shock in her heart, and said slowly, Sovereign, you have to seek justice for me. Not only did this brat kill Yu Qin and the other two, he also humiliated me in front of everyone. This kind of lawless person must be killed. Gao Zhongyan, who was intimidated by Yi Qinfeng's cold gaze, did not care about his face and shouted loudly, Hey, you're already so old, yet you're still crying and screaming like a woman. If I were you, I would have killed myself long ago to save myself from making a fool of myself. Yi Qinfeng mocked as he looked at Gao Zhongyan, who was covered in blood and covered in dirt with disdain. You! Gao Zhongyan had lived for more than 1,000 years, but he had never been humiliated like this. Yi Qinfeng's words were like knives that stabbed into the depths of his heart, making him go crazy, making him angry, making him want to kill someone. Qingfeng, did you really kill Gao Yuqin? Shui Piaoling frowned and asked. In these troubled times, she really did not want to become enemies with Gao Zhongyan's family. However, she was unable to punish Yi Qinfeng, so she asked awkwardly. I have a memory stone here. The cause of Gao Yuqin and the other two's deaths are recorded inside. Yi Qinfeng took out a memory stone from his universe ring and said indifferently, After you see it, you will know why I killed them. Seeing the memory stone in Yi Qinfeng's hand, Gao Zhongyan's expression changed slightly, the muscles at the corner of his eyes twitched. If Gao Yuqin and the other two had really committed a heinous crime, not only would he not be able to borrow the power of Misty Mountain to avenge them, he would also lose all his face. All right, give me the memory stone. Seeing Yi Qinfeng's calm appearance, Shui Piaoling nodded and took the memory stone from his hand. She released her soul power into it. When Shui Piaoling browsed through the contents of the memory stone, her cold and elegant face became extremely ugly. She looked at Gao Zhongyan angrily and said, Third Protector, you really raised a good grandson. Take a look for yourself and see why your grandson was killed. As she spoke, Shui Piaoling threw the memory stone in her hand to Gao Zhongyan. Gao Zhongyan's expression changed when he caught the memory stone that Shui Piaoling threw over. In front of everyone's eyes, he had no choice but to release his soul power into the memory stone. When he saw Gao Yuqin and the other two's lawless crimes through the memory stone, his heart turned cold. Sect Master, Yuqin and the others have indeed committed a heinous crime. However, a country has its own laws and a clan has its own rules. Even if Yuqin and the other two offended Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia, they should be dealt with by Misty Mountain and not by an outsider like him. He wantonly killed my Misty Mountain's disciples. He clearly doesn't place my Misty Mountain in his eyes. This kind of thief must be eliminated. Gao Zhongyan threw away his old face and said unforgivingly, I'm a thief. Yi Qinfeng coldly snorted and said, If I didn't owe Sect Master Shui a favor back then, I wouldn't have traveled thousands of miles and braved great danger to inform your Misty Mountain. Furthermore, the three of them tortured each other to death. What does that have to do with me? The only thing to blame is that the medicine was too strong and their lust was too strong. Third Protector, do you want to see what they looked like before they died? That kind of scene is truly too disgusting. That kind of posture, I even suspect they learned it from you. Yi Qinfeng once again took out a memory stone from his bosom. Looking at the gloomy Gao Zhongyan, he said overbearingly. Agitated, Gao Zhongyan's chest swelled and he spat out a mouthful of scalding blood. He swayed and almost fell to the ground. Sai, look at you! Why can't you take a joke? Looking at Gao Zhongyan, who was spitting out blood, Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly. He said mockingly, "Do you think I would stand to the side and remember that kind of disgusting scene? This memory stone is fake. There's nothing inside." Just as Yi Chunfeng finished speaking, Gao Zhongyan, who was filled with humiliation, anger, and many other emotions, was so angry that he suffered internal injuries. A large amount of blood spurted out of his mouth. His entire body was like a deflated balloon as he fell to the ground. Seeing Gao Zhongyan suffer internal injuries from being angered by Yi Chunfeng and collapsing to the ground, the white-haired elder's expression became incomparably gloomy. It was clear that he and Gao Zhongyan came from the same lineage. Gao Zhongyan had lost all face, and he also felt that he had lost all face. "Qingfeng, do you really know about the Western Devil Sect's scheme against my Misty Mountain?" At this time, Shui Piaoling opened her mouth and looked at him with a burning gaze. "Sect Master Shui, what I know is very important. If you believe me, let's find a place to talk alone." Yi Chunfeng met Shui Piaoling's gaze and nodded. "All right, follow me." Shui Piaoling nodded and brought Yi Chunfeng, Ji Qingxue, and the sword puppet into the Misty Mountain that was filled with spiritual energy. HTL Mobile Reading Website. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 397. The Heavenly Snow Peak was one of the 18 main peaks of the Misty Mountain. It was tens of thousands of meters tall, and was covered in snow all year round. It was shrouded in clouds and looked like a fairyland. But when Shui Piaoling became the 19th sect master of the Misty Mountain, the previous sect master gave the Heavenly Snow Peak to her and made it her exclusive cultivation place. Such dense spirit energy. Following Shui Piaoling to the Heavenly Snow Peak, Yi Chunfeng and the others immediately felt a dense spirit energy rush towards them. All the hairs on their body opened up and greedily devoured the flowing spirit energy in the air. The 18 main peaks of the Misty Mountain all have spirit veins sealed, so the spirit energy here is more than 10 times that of the outside world. Cultivating here is twice the result with half the effort. Shui Piaoling explained softly. She led them to an ancient-looking pavilion covered with thick white snow at the peak of the mountain. The Misty Mountain is indeed the #1 sect of the Northern Spirit region. Their foundation is indeed deep. Looking at the surrounding cultivation environment, Yi Chunfeng couldn't help but sigh. "Qingfeng, who is this person in the ice? Why do you keep him by your side?" Shui Piaoling personally poured a cup of tea for Yi Chunfeng and the others. Then, he looked at the frozen venerate viper standing beside Yi Chunfeng and asked in confusion, "What are you doing?" "He is the venerable flower snake of the Snake Valley." Yi Chunfeng drank a mouthful of spirit tea and moistened his throat. Venerable flower snake, one of the 8 great venerables of the Snake Valley. Shui Piaoling's expression slightly changed as she looked at the ice sculpture in shock. "Why is he sealed in ice and with you? Qingfeng, don't tell me this venerable flower snake was sealed in ice by you." Shui Piaoling sucked in a cold breath and said, "If I remember correctly, he is a rank 3 defiant beast king." "Sister Piaoling, you are right. He was indeed sealed in ice by me." Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, "What? Could it be that you already have the strength to defeat a rank 3 defiant beast king?" Shui Piaoling's eyes widened as she looked at Yi Chunfeng like she was looking at a monster. "Yes. If it wasn't for you, that Gao Zhongyan would have already become a corpse." Yi Chunfeng nodded and said domineeringly, "Qingfeng, what have you encountered in the past 4 years? How did your strength increase so quickly?" Shui Piaoling had heard about the grudge between Yi Chunfeng and the Heavenly Fire sect. But she didn't expect that in the 4 years of the Heavenly Snow sect. And Shui Piaoling. In these 4 years, I have encountered a lot and experienced a lot. Fortunately, I managed to pull through, Yi Chunfeng said indifferently with a faint smile. His voice was filled with the vicissitudes of life. All right, Shui Piaoling, let's get down to business. Yi Chunfeng changed the topic. This time, I brought Venerable Flower Snake to find you to repay your kindness. Not long ago, I went to the North Sea province and inadvertently learned that the Western Demon sect was secretly colluding with the Ice Palace and Snake Valley to deal with your Misty Mountain. Yi Chunfeng told Shui Piaoling about the Western Demon sect's scheme in detail. Qingfeng, is what you said true? After hearing Yi Chunfeng's story, Shui Piaoling's expression changed greatly. Worry appeared between her brows as she asked in a grave voice. It's absolutely true. After learning about their secret collusion, I originally wanted to hire the sky-penetrating pavilion to obtain evidence of their secret collusion. But unfortunately, I failed at the last moment. Just as I was being chased by them, I inadvertently encountered Venerable Flower Snake chasing after the Zhou family people. Yi Chunfeng continued. He also told Shui Piaoling about the important information he learned from the Zhou family. Qingfeng, thank you for taking the risk to send me this information. I really don't know how to thank you. Shui Piaoling took a deep breath and looked at Yi Chunfeng gratefully. Sister Piaoling, this is what I owe you. You don't have to mind it too much. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said indifferently. To be honest, I didn't take the promise you made back then to heart. However, I didn't expect that promise to be able to affect the fate of the Misty Mountain. Shui Piaoling sighed and said, Chunfeng, Qingxue, Xia, you guys stay here and have a good rest. I will bring Venerable Flower Snake to find Master and ask her to decide on a solution. Okay, we'll wait for you here. Yi Chunfeng nodded and allowed Shui Piaoling to take away Venerable Flower Snake, who was frozen by the ancient frost profound ice. Qingxue, Xia, this sky snow peak is an excellent place for cultivation. It's beneficial for your cultivation. Let's go outside. I'll help you break through to the second-level Heavenly Beast Immortal Realm. After Shui Piaoling left, Yi Chunfeng drank the spirit tea in his cup and suggested softly. Okay. The two girls nodded obediently and followed Yi Chunfeng to the sky snow peak. There was a 10-meter-tall, luxuriant cedar tree covered in a thick layer of snow. They consumed an earth-level soul elixir. With Yi Chunfeng's help, they broke through to the second-level Heavenly Beast Immortal Realm. At the same time, Gao Zhongyan, who was heavily injured and humiliated, appeared at the Misty Bamboo Peak where the Misty Mountain Grand Elder Shui Qinglan was at. He denounced Yi Chunfeng's evil deeds and asked Shui Qinglan to help him. I already know about what happened to you. However, you are in the wrong in this matter. If you want to save your face and avenge your grandson, it's impossible to punish that person severely. Shui Qinglan, who was wearing a white martial arts suit and had a long beard, was sitting cross-legged on a piece of 10,000-year-old ice. He opened his eyes and spoke without joy or sorrow. Great Elder, Yu Qin is my only grandson and the successor to my legacy. He was killed just like that. I really can't take this lying down. If I can't avenge him and kill my enemy, I won't be able to rest in peace even if I die. Gao Zhongyan said sullenly as he stood in the ice room with his body bowed. Zhongyan, I can understand your feelings. However, I heard that person brought news about the Western Devil sect. If the news is true, we definitely can't deal with him at this juncture. Otherwise, we will be the sinners of the Misty Mountain. Therefore, I suggest that we put the matter of revenge aside for now. After we deal with the Western Devil sect, we will find a chance to take revenge. Gao Zhongyan was an important figure in Shui Qinglan's faction. Shui Qinglan had to care about his matters and comforted him softly. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Suddenly, a deafening bell sound reverberated throughout the Misty Mountain. It instantly spread to all 18 main peaks. And why is the misty heaven bell ringing at this time? Could something big have happened? Xue Qinglan's deep eyes shot out rays of radiance. He looked through the window at the misty mountain's main peak that was above the clouds. He muttered to himself, could it be related to that person? Let's go. Let's go to the misty mountain's main peak and see what happened. The misty heaven bell was the only heavenly treasure in the misty mountain. It would only ring when something very important happened. Once the misty heaven bell rang, all the elders and protectors of the sect would have to rush to the misty heaven palace on the main peak immediately. Soon enough, all the elders and protectors of the misty mountain gathered at the misty heaven palace. When the old sect master, Xue Xianqing, who had not shown himself for a long time, announced the news that Yi Chunfeng brought and the information that he obtained from martial artist Flower Snake by searching his soul, the entire Misty Mountain was in an uproar. HTL Mobile Reading Website. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 398. In the evening, the sky was filled with crimson clouds that illuminated the sky's snow peak, turning it into a picturesque rose color. But, with Yi Chunfeng's help, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia completely absorbed the Earth rank Soul Core and began to attack the rank 2 Heavenly Beast Immortal Realm. But because their foundation was not solid, it was very difficult for them to break through the bottleneck. Without several days, it would be very difficult to break through. At this time, Xue Piaoling, who looked a bit haggard and tired, returned to the sky's snow peak by herself. What's wrong, Sister Piaoling? This matter is very serious. Seeing Xue Piaoling's haggard appearance, Yi Chunfeng immediately walked forward and asked with concern. Yes, this matter is more serious than we thought. Xue Piaoling sighed softly and said, My master forcibly searched Venerable Flower Snake's soul and learned of the Western Devil Sect's scheme against my Misty Mountain. Their true target is actually my Misty Mountain's genius. Sister Piaoling, is it convenient for you to reveal the Western Devil Sect's scheme to me? Yi Chunfeng asked. Sure, let's talk over there. Don't disturb their cultivation. Xue Piaoling hesitated for a moment before nodding. She brought Yi Chunfeng to a pavilion built on the edge of the cliff. Sai, the Western Devil Sect secretly colluded with the Ice Palace and Snake Territory. They didn't want to attack my Misty Mountain, but wanted to borrow the two powers' hands to eliminate my Misty Mountain's genius and break my Misty Mountain's foundation. Xue Piaoling anxiously said as she sat in the pavilion, looking at the distant snow mountain. Sister Piaoling, since you already knew about the Western Devil Sect's scheme, why didn't you take precautions beforehand? Yi Chunfeng asked, puzzled. Things are not as simple as you think. In less than 3 months, it will be the Ancient Sky City Martial Competition that is held every 10 years in the Northern Spiritual Region. We will compete for the destiny of Ancient Sky City, and my Misty Mountain is the #1 sect in the Northern Spiritual Region. If we are absent from this martial competition, not only will we lose our sect's destiny, it will also affect our prestige. The Western Devil Sect predicted that my Misty Mountain would definitely send disciples to participate in the Ancient Sky City Martial Competition, so they wanted to borrow the Ice Palace and Snake Valley's experts to eliminate my Misty Mountain's genius. Xue Piaoling told Yi Chunfeng all the important secrets she knew. Sister Piaoling, the Misty Mountain is the #1 sect in the Northern Spiritual Region. Could it be that the geniuses nurtured by the Misty Mountain are not as good as the Ice Palace and the Snake Valley? Yi Chunfeng pondered for a moment and asked. The Ancient Sky City Martial Meeting has a clear rule that the bone age of the participating disciples cannot exceed 40 years of age. Of my Misty Mountain's disciples under 40 years of age, except for me, no one has broken through to the Absolute King realm. Because I've become the Misty Mountain's sect master, I have to host this martial meeting. I can't participate in this martial meeting as a participant. From what I know, the Ice Palace and the Snake Valley have both given birth to peerless kings. Plus, the Western Devil sect is secretly adding fuel to the fire. Once my Misty Mountain's disciples encounter them, they will be doomed, Shui Piaoling said in a serious tone. Sister Piaoling, why don't I represent Misty Mountain in battle and crush the Western Devil sect's scheme? After understanding what had happened, Yi Chunfeng smiled and softly asked. You! Shui Piaoling frowned. Her eyes shone as she looked at Yi Chunfeng. Yes, I don't dare to say anything else, but I'm confident in crushing those so-called geniuses of the Ice Palace and Snake Valley. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said confidently. That's one way. Thinking of Yi Chunfeng's strength that could crush a third-rank reverse beast king, Shui Piaoling's worry lessened a lot. I'll ask Master and hear her opinion. Shui Piaoling took out her messaging pearl and sent a message to the Misty Mountains sect master, Snow Fairy Pond, telling her about Yi Chunfeng's suggestion. Qingfeng, my master wants to see you. Is that possible? After ending the message, Shui Piaoling held her messaging pearl and looked at Yi Chunfeng. Of course. When Qingxue and Xia break through, I'll go with you to see your master. Yi Chunfeng happily agreed. Qingfeng, master wants to see you immediately. As for Qingxue and Xia's safety, you don't have to worry. No one will disturb their cultivation here. Shui Piaoling promised. All right then. I'll have the sword puppet protect them. Yi Chunfeng nodded and summoned the sword puppet, ordering it to protect the two girls. He then summoned the golden rock wings and followed Shui Piaoling to the Misty Mountain's heavenly palace. When Yi Chunfeng followed Shui Piaoling into the Misty Heavenly Palace, which was located at the center of the Misty Mountain's main peak and was protected by the formation at the center of the Misty Mountain, which was built with 108 stone pillars. It was richly ornamented and exuded an ancient aura. He immediately sensed a dark gaze directed at him. Why is he here? Yi Chunfeng frowned when he saw Gao Zhongyan, who was looking at him with a gloomy expression. Yi Chunfeng, on behalf of Misty Mountain, I thank you for the news you brought from so far away. Seeing Yi Chunfeng walk into the hall with Shui Piaoling, the white-haired Shui Xianqi, who was wearing a white martial suit with a phoenix pattern and had snow-white hair, said kindly. She was still very charming. Yi Chunfeng walked into the hall with Shui Piaoling. Sect Master Shui is too polite. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, Sect Master Shui has helped me many times in the past. This is something I should repay. Yi Chunfeng, the news you brought is no longer a matter of gratitude. It concerns the future of Misty Mountain. Once our crisis is resolved, we will definitely repay this favor. Shui Piaoling promised in front of everyone. Damn it! Hearing Shui Piaoling's promise, Gao Zhongyan's expression darkened. He clenched his teeth and constantly cursed Yi Chunfeng in his heart. That's right, I just heard Wandering say that you intend to represent Misty Mountain in the Ancient Sky City Martial Competition, said Shui Piaoling. Yes, I'm confident I can destroy the Western Devil Sect's scheme. As for my strength, I'm sure the three protectors are very clear. Yi Chunfeng nodded and playfully looked at the gloomy Gao Zhongyan. You! Under everyone's gazes, Yi Chunfeng had once again opened up a scar. Gao Zhongyan's lungs were about to explode from anger. He wished he could choke him to death on the spot. That is indeed a good idea. I don't know if anyone has any objections. Shui Piaoling nodded. Her turbid eyes swept over everyone in the main hall, asking for their opinions. I don't agree. First Elder Shui Qinglan, who was sitting on the first seat on the left, opened his mouth. Once Shui Qinglan's words were spoken, several elders and protectors with him in the lead all expressed their opposition to Yi Chunfeng representing Misty Mountain in the Ancient Sky City Martial Competition. First Elder, I don't know the reason for your opposition. Shui Qinglan looked at him with a profound gaze and slowly asked. First of all, he is an outsider. Letting an outsider represent Misty Mountain in the Ancient Sky City Martial Competition will inevitably affect Misty Mountain's reputation. Secondly, although this person has brought news related to the fate of Misty Mountain, our understanding of him is very limited. I don't know if anyone has considered that he could be a spy sent by the Western Devil sect to deliberately mislead us. Furthermore, the ancient Sky City Martial competition involves the destiny of Misty Mountain for the next 10 years. If he obtains a great destiny or a great opportunity, what should we do if he doesn't give it to Misty Mountain? So after considering all of the above, I don't agree with him representing Misty Mountain in the ancient Sky City Martial competition. At the end, Xue Qinglan's deep eyes suddenly became sharp as he looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was standing straight with an emotionless face. First Elder, Qingfeng is my friend, and I believe in his character. I suggest that he represent Misty Mountain in the ancient Sky City Martial competition. Xue Piaoling supported Yi Chunfeng as soon as Xue Qinglan finished speaking. Sect Master, the future of the sect is not a game. You can't push Misty Mountain into a dangerous situation because of your subjective opinion, Xue Qinglan aggressively said. First Elder has said so much because you are doubting Yi Chunfeng's loyalty. If he can pass the Misty Illusions trial, I don't know if First Elder will still oppose him representing Misty Mountain. At this time, Xue Qinglan spoke. If he can pass the Misty Illusions trial, then I naturally won't doubt him. The corner of Xue Qinglan's mouth slightly raised, revealing a trace of coldness that was hard to detect. Yi Chunfeng, are you willing to go to the Misty Illusions trial? Xue Qinglan looked at Yi Chunfeng and asked. Old Sect Master Xue, what kind of place is the Misty Illusion? Yi Chunfeng asked. The Misty Illusion is the place where Misty Mountain's previous sect masters are buried. It is also a place of opportunity. Anyone who enters will have to undergo the trial of the soul flames left behind by our previous sect masters. If you fail the trial, you may lose your life. But if you pass all the trials, your soul will be greatly tempered and your soul beast will become even stronger. Xue Qinglan explained in detail. Junior is willing. Knowing that the Misty Illusion was a bit similar to the Path of Will that he had challenged before, Yi Chunfeng agreed without hesitation. Good, then come with me. Saying that, Xue Qinglan slowly got up and brought Yi Chunfeng out of the Misty Palace. They arrived at the forbidden area of Misty Mountain, outside of the Misty Illusion. During the new year, I really didn't have time to write. I apologize and wish all my friends a happy new year. HTL Mobile Reading Site. Book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 399. Yi Chunfeng, in front of you is one of the 3 forbidden areas of Misty Mountain, the Misty Fantasy Realm. As long as you can pass through 2 of the trials, no one will doubt your intentions. And if you can represent Misty Mountain, you can use all of Misty Mountain's cultivation resources. Xue Fairy Lake pointed at a cave in front of them that was so dark that one couldn't even see their own fingers. She slowly said, however, the Misty Fantasy Realm is dangerous. If you fail, your soul, body, and mind will be severely injured. It is even possible that there will be irrecoverable sequelae. Sect Leader Xue, how many trials are there in the Misty Fantasy Realm? Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and asked. There are a total of 5 illusions in the Misty Fantasy Realm, but even I only dare to accept the first 4. I don't dare to enter the last one. Xue Fairy Lake said. Why is the 5th illusionary space so dangerous? Yi Chunfeng slightly frowned and asked curiously. Because the 5th illusionary space is the foundation of the Misty Fantasy Realm. It is also the source of the illusionary realm. There is a mysterious misty stone engraving inside, and it is because of this stone engraving that the Misty Fantasy Realm exists. Xue Fairy Lake said without hiding anything. In other words, the test of the fifth illusionary space is not the souls of the sect leaders of Misty Mountain, but the Misty Stone engraving. Misty Stone engraving. Yi Chunfeng's heart was moved, and he became very interested in the Misty Stone engraving in the fifth illusionary space. Yi Chunfeng, although your talent is amazing, I advise you not to challenge the Misty Stone engraving. With the power of the Misty Stone engraving, it can instantly crush your soul and take away your life. You can't even enter the fourth illusionary space. Shui Fairy Lake looked at Yi Chunfeng's eyes and showed a trace of interest. She solemnly warned him. Don't worry, sect leader Shui, I know what I am doing. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, I wonder if I can enter the misty fantasy realm now? Yes. Shui Fairy Lake warned. Be careful, don't try to be brave. Who? Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and slowly walked towards the black cave. He passed through a thin layer of restriction and entered the cave. As soon as Yi Chunfeng entered the cave, a large number of illusions appeared before his eyes, confusing his vision and mind. However, in just a breath, the God-Eater brain devoured the illusions that had invaded his mind. He regained consciousness and quickly made his way into the cave. As he walked, the pitch-black cave suddenly became as bright as day. A lifelike stone sculpture made of white jade appeared in front of Yi Chunfeng. Shui Rao, the 14th-generation Misty Mountain sect leader, an expert at the peak of level 6 Beast King. She died 13,000 years ago, a peerless talent, a genius of her generation. Looking at the line of small words carved on the white jade, Yi Chunfeng revealed a sense of reverence. He bowed to her from afar and slowly walked over. When he arrived in front of Shui Rao's stone sculpture, a powerful soul energy surged out from the sculpture like a surging tide and rushed into Yi Chunfeng's soul, causing his soul to tremble. In the next moment, a large amount of soul flames appeared in Yi Chunfeng's mind, burning his soul and confusing his mind. Amidst the pain, it brought him back to the bloody storm that happened several tens of thousands of years ago in Misty Mountain, testing his true nature. The moment Yi Chunfeng lost himself, the God-Eater brain erupted with a powerful energy and directly devoured the soul flames that invaded his mind. While strengthening his soul, it also pulled him back from the illusions. How strange! Even with my tempered soul, I instantly lost myself. This misty fantasy realm is indeed not simple. Yi Chunfeng let out a long sigh of relief. He glanced at the rapidly fading soul energy of Shui Rao's sculpture and muttered to himself. The God-Eater brain instantly devoured the soul flames. Although Yi Chunfeng's soul didn't undergo much tempering, his soul power increased by a lot. Especially the two-headed Blood Dragon King, its huge body began to grow again. Many thanks, Senior. Yi Chunfeng, who obtained great benefits, deeply bowed to Shui Rao's sculpture. He easily passed through the first layer of the fantasy realm and walked towards the second layer of the fantasy realm. Shui Tongyun, the 10th Patriarch of Misty Mountain, half-step battle beast emperor, died 26,000 years ago. Piercing heaven divine technique is incomparably tyrannical. Yi Chunfeng advanced quickly for the time it took for half an incense stick to burn. Then, he discovered the second sculpture of a tall and proud man standing in a pool. So there were also men among the patriarchs of Misty Mountain. Looking at the tyrannical and invincible imposing sculpture before him, Yi Chunfeng also bowed and slowly walked in front of him to accept his test. Buzz. Standing in front of Shui Tongyun's sculpture, Yi Chunfeng suddenly realized that the air around him had become turbulent. An overwhelming amount of soul energy surged into his soul, forming a large amount of soul flames that burned his soul, causing him to lose himself in an instant. The next moment, Yi Chunfeng found himself lying on a soft big bed. A woman wearing a white tulle nightgown, with her enchanting body faintly discernible, fair skin, and slender legs completely exposed to the air, exuding a mature and charming aura, was nestled in his arms. And this woman exuding a mature charm wasn't Yu Nikhang, Fu Yue Ji Qingxue or Bai Xia, but Xue Piaoling who wasn't very close to him. Because Xue Piaoling's nightgown was too thin, with Yi Chunfeng's eyesight, he could almost see through her entire body. Coupled with the close skin and the delicate fragrance from her body, Yi Chunfeng's blood surged and his breathing became rapid. At this moment, Xue Piaoling, who was in a deep sleep, suddenly woke up. She looked at Yi Chunfeng with a tender gaze. The tulle dress on her body was torn into pieces, revealing an almost perfect and flawless body. Like a smooth little snake, she wrapped herself around Yi Chunfeng. In an instant, Yi Chunfeng completely lost himself. A crack appeared in his incomparably firm heart of cultivation. He couldn't help but hug Xue Piaoling's plump body that was like a peach. Just as Yi Chunfeng was intoxicated by lust and couldn't extricate himself, the God-Eater brain became restless. It formed a devouring vortex in Yi Chunfeng's mind, crazily devouring the soul fire that burned his soul and lost his consciousness. In the next moment, the charming scene in front of him shattered. Xue Piaoling looked at him sadly and disappeared like ripples in water. My heart of cultivation is broken. With the help of the God-Eater brain, the pale Yi Chunfeng finally regained his consciousness. But when he recalled the scene just now, he still had lingering fears. Once his heart of cultivation was broken, it would cause immeasurable damage to him and shake his cultivation foundation. Is this ethereal dreamland too powerful, or is lust my fatal weakness? Yi Chunfeng muttered to himself. Sigh, this ethereal dreamland is indeed more difficult than I thought. Yi Chunfeng sighed softly and sat cross-legged under the statue of Xue Tongyun. He entered a state of meditation, guarding his heart and repairing his broken heart of cultivation bit by bit. About 2 days later, through Yi Chunfeng's unremitting efforts, he finally repaired his broken Tao heart. He let out a long sigh of relief and slowly stood up. He didn't turn around and leave. Instead, he walked towards the third layer of the ethereal fantasy realm without hesitation. For mobile users, please visit Chapter 400. Snow Fairy, the third sect master of the Misty Mountain, second-rank Beast Emperor realm. She died 48,000 years ago and was once the strongest person in the northern spirit region. Looking at the peerless beauty in front of him, Yi Chunfeng found it hard to imagine that such a beauty was the strongest person in the northern spirit region. Yi Chunfeng politely bowed towards the snow fairy statue. He adjusted his breathing and stood in front of her to accept her test. Boom! Flames flashed in front of Yi Chunfeng's eyes. Endless soul fire gushed out of the snow fairy statue. Like a tornado sweeping through the heavens and earth, it entered his soul, burning his soul and making him lose his consciousness. However, Yi Chunfeng was already prepared. The moment his soul was lost, the god-devouring brain quickly wriggled and formed a devouring whirlpool, crazily devouring the soul fire. Just as Yi Chunfeng was guarding his heart and accepting the tempering of the soul fire released by the snow fairy, the snow fairy pond found out that Yi Chunfeng had passed the first 2 trials of the illusory space through a jade crystal that had been passed down for tens of thousands of years. Everyone, according to the origin jade crystal of the ethereal mirage, Yi Chunfeng has already passed the test of the first 2 ancestors in the ethereal mirage. Now, he is undergoing the test of the snow fairy's ancestor. Now, no one will doubt his intentions. The snow fairy pond revealed a faint smile and said, Damn, are the 2 ancestors blind? They actually let that brat pass the test. Hearing this news, Gao Zhongyan was unwilling to accept it and angrily cursed in his heart. First Elder, what should we do now? The gloomy Gao Zhongyan asked the calm Xue Qinglan through voice transmission. What's the hurry? The show has just begun. The corner of Xue Qinglan's mouth slightly rose, revealing a sneer that was hard to detect. She said, That brat is not a disciple of the Misty Mountain. Not to mention the difficulty of the test, the ancestors will not be merciful to him. Therefore, if he insists on continuing the test, his soul will be damaged or his Tao heart will be broken. and if his soul is damaged or his cultivation heart is broken, it will take a very long time to recover. At that time, he won't be able to go to ancient Sky City to participate in the martial arts competition. When the Snow Fairy Pond, Shui Piaoling and the others leave, it will be easy for us to kill him. Great Elder, you're so considerate. Hearing Shui Qinglan's evil plan, Gao Zhongyan's eyes suddenly lit up. His depressed mood was swept away. He looked forward to the news of Yi Qinfeng's failure and serious injury. God-devouring brain, break the illusion, devour the soul fire. About half a day later, Yi Qinfeng, who had undergone a long tempering process, suddenly opened his eyes. The devouring vortex in his mind had completely devoured the soul fire released by the Snow Fairy statue. Following that, a loud dragon roar resounded in the depths of his mind. After half a day of tempering, the two-headed Blood Dragon King had become even more terrifying. Its huge body had grown to 3,500 meters, and the King Ancient Rune had become even more powerful. Thank you for your help, Senior. Yi Qinfeng, who had obtained great benefits, deeply bowed to the Snow Fairy statue. After a simple recovery, he continued to walk into the depths of the misty, illusory realm. Yi Qinfeng has passed the Snow Fairy Ancestors test. Through the Origin Jade Crystal, the Snow Fairy Pond learned about Yi Qinfeng's latest movements. However, there was no trace of joy on her face. Instead, there was deep worry. Looking at the Snow Fairy Pond's frowning brows and dignified face, the smile on Wandering's face instantly froze. He asked nervously, "Master, what happened?" Yi Qinfeng is too impulsive. After passing the Snow Fairy Ancestors test, he did not leave the misty, illusory realm. Instead, he went to the fourth layer of the illusory realm to accept the test of our Misty Mountain's founder. The Snow Fairy Pond said in a dignified voice, "Master, we don't know how strong Qingfeng is. Quickly go and stop him. Don't let anything happen to him." Shui Piaoling knew how dangerous the fourth layer of the illusory realm was, so he urged nervously, "Sect Master, I think you are too worried. I can see that Yi Qinfeng is not an ordinary person. Since he dares to accept the challenge of our Misty Mountain's founder, he should have a certain degree of confidence. I suggest that we wait a little longer. Maybe he can give us a big surprise." Shui Qinglan, who was secretly delighted, said with a calm expression, "No, I will not allow Qingfeng to take risk. I will stop him myself." Shui Piaoling ignored Shui Qinglan's words. He stood up and was about to go to the misty, illusory realm. It's too late. Yi Qinfeng has already entered the fourth layer of the illusory realm and is ready to accept the test of the Misty Mountain's founder. Let's just wait and see. Shui Fairy Pond's deep eyes glanced at Shui Qinglan, shook his head, and said, "Yi Qinfeng, do you really think that the misty, illusory realm, one of the 3 forbidden areas of the Misty Mountain, is so simple? You will soon know that the misty, illusory realm can also kill people." Gao Zhongyan sneered. He seemed to have foreseen Yi Qinfeng's tragic end. Shui Piaomiao, the founder of the Misty Mountain. Her strength is unknown. 81,000 years ago, she ascended and tore the sky to enter the heaven domain. When she was in charge of the Misty Mountain was ranked as an 8th-grade sacred ground in the Fighting Spirit continent. She is the founder of the Misty Mountain. 81,000 years ago, she ascended to the heaven domain. Looking at the tall and beautiful statue of Shui Piaomiao, who was wearing a white silk dress, Yi Qinfeng couldn't help but feel respect for her. He bowed 3 times respectfully before walking to her statue. Buzz. Buzz. Yi Qinfeng walked over step by step. Waves of invincible intent spread out from Shui Piaomiao's statue. In the next moment, Yi Qinfeng's vision blurred. The scene in front of him changed drastically. He discovered that he was actually in a world of ice and snow. A woman wearing a white jasmine gauze floated in the air. She had an incomparably beautiful appearance and a pair of charming phoenix eyes. Silently, she was looking at him. This is a willpower space. Looking at the white-dressed woman in front of him, Yi Chunfeng immediately recognized her. She was the founder of the Misty Mountain, the one who ascended to the heaven domain, Shui Piaomiao. And the space he was in was most likely a willpower space formed by her soul. Defeat me and you can leave this place. Loser, die. Shui Piaomiao looked at Yi Chunfeng without a trace of emotion and spoke in a bone-chilling voice. After speaking, Shui Piaomiao's body gushed out a shocking killing intent. It filled the entire space of ice and snow. The fluctuations caused the entire space to tremble. It gave Yi Chunfeng immense pressure. Swish, a sword light that was hard to be seen by the naked eye cut across the vast sky. It tore apart the space and cleaved towards Yi Chunfeng with extreme speed. Sword-based Dao pattern attack. Shui Piaomiao's sword was too fast. Yi Chunfeng had no time to react and could only instinctively release the sword Dao pattern to block. Crack! 10 sword Dao patterns clashed with the sword light that Shui Piaomiao cleaved out. In an instant, the sword light that was condensed from the 10 sword Dao patterns shattered. The shocking sword light didn't diminish and pierced towards Yi Chunfeng. It directly penetrated his body and splashed out a large amount of blood. Sword Dao First Heaven. I didn't expect you to comprehend the Sword Dao First Heaven with your grade 6 Mystic Beast ancestor cultivation. It seems like you are also an extremely talented individual, but it is a pity that your strength is too weak. With just the Sword Dao First Heaven, you are still unable to change your fate. After speaking, Shui Piaomiao continued to attack. Streaks of sword light that swept across the heaven and earth and tore apart the void cleaved down from the sky. They brought along an absolute power and cleaved towards Yi Chunfeng. In an instant, Yi Chunfeng's defense was broken. His body was cleaved by the shocking sword light and shattered into thousands of pieces. Chapter 401. She has already ascended. All of this is nothing. All of this is just an illusion. My intent is to pursue the Supreme Tao. How can mere obstacles hinder my progress? His body was shattered by the shocking sword lights, but Yi Chunfeng's spirit flame burned brighter and brighter. His powerful willpower supported his shattered body. The God-Eater brain in his mind and the primal chaos divine wood in his heart meridian complemented each other and instantly reconstructed his body. As expected, all of this is just an illusion. If I give up, then everything will truly be over. Looking at his intact body, Yi Chunfeng's willpower and battle intent reached the peak. An unparalleled aura was emitted from his body. The God-Eater brain's deduction speed also reached the peak as it searched for Shui Piaomiao's flaw. Not bad, not bad. I didn't expect your willpower to be so strong. But it is a pity that you are not a disciple of my Misty Mountain. Whether you can leave this place will depend on your ability. While speaking, Shui Piaomiao continued to make her move. Her graceful body spun one round in midair. Dazzling sword lights were like blooming lotuses that split from her body. They mixed with powerful sword Dao and slashed at Yi Chunfeng. 7 Sword of Judgment, Thunder Devour. Facing Shui Piaomiao's attack, Yi Chunfeng didn't dodge. The double-headed Blood Dragon King fused into his body. The Sword Dao pattern and Thunder Dao pattern quickly fused. The power of the Spirit Pearl in his Shinmen acupoint burst out and turned into a giant thunder sword. It slashed through the void and slashed at Shui Piaomiao's Lotus Sword Shadow. Rumble, a series of deafening explosions echoed. It was filled with Sword Dao pattern and Thunder Dao pattern. The giant thunder sword with 3 million kilograms of force clashed with the Lotus Sword Shadow. But Shui Piaomiao's strength was too terrifying. The power of her Lotus Sword Shadow was far superior to the giant thunder sword. In merely 3 breaths' time, the huge lightning sword shattered. Streaks of invincible Lotus Sword shadows enveloped Yi Chunfeng like stormy waves. The remaining force did not diminish in the slightest as it struck his body, once again turning his body into minced meat. The great Tao of heaven and earth, my heart is eternal. As long as the great Tao does not perish, I will not perish. Facing the nearly invincible Shuepiaomiao, Yi Chenfeng didn't fear Yi Chenfeng at all. He once again relied on his powerful soul consciousness to reform his body. Seven Sword of Judgment, Waning Moon, Yi Chenfeng shouted. His entire body turned into a crescent moon that pierced through space and the earth. It cut through all barriers and slashed towards Shuepiaomiao. Although the waning moon sword gleam was extremely powerful, there was an insurmountable gap between him and Shuepiaomiao. He couldn't rely on Dao skills to make up for it. Gotcha! The crescent moon sword light was shattered by Shuepiaomiao's sword and did not cause any harm to her. Great Sun Heaven Fire Fist. Flame Dragon destroys the world. Even the most powerful waning moon sword beam couldn't hurt Shuepiaomiao, but Yi Chenfeng's confidence in winning was still unshaken. He cleared away all distracting thoughts in his mind and guarded his heart. He used all of his skills to fight against Shuepiaomiao. Master, how is Qingfeng now? Shuepiaomiao asked nervously. She was afraid that something would happen to Yi Chenfeng. If that happened, not only would she feel guilty for the rest of her life, but the Misty Mountain might also suffer an unprecedented blow. Yi Chenfeng is still undergoing the test of the Misty Mountain Great Ancestor. He doesn't seem to be in any danger now, but it's hard to say after a while. Although Yi Chenfeng lasted for more than 2 hours, which greatly exceeded everyone's expectations, Xue Qinglan and the others at the Snow Fairy Pond knew how dangerous Shuepiaomiao's test was. They didn't think that Yi Chenfeng would pass the test in the end. Great Elder, you are still the best. You used a borrowed knife to kill the enemy. Gao Zhongyan, who was in a good mood, showed a rare smile and kept flattering her through voice transmission. Humph, I have many ways to toy with that arrogant brat. Xue Qinglan showed a proud smile and replied through voice transmission. Time passed second by second. Yi Chenfeng could no longer remember how many times his body had been shattered by Shuepiaomiao and how long he had been on the verge of death. However, every time his body was shattered, he could use his strong willpower to reconstruct his body and continue fighting with Shuepiaomiao. Even Shuepiaomiao had a look of admiration for his strong willpower and unyielding heart. She had a heart of love for his talent. Persevere. This is only the 4th illusory space. If I fail the 4th illusory space test, how can I challenge the Misty Stone inscriptions? Yi Chenfeng encouraged himself again and again as he fought with Shuepiaomiao. Swish! At this moment, a light flashed in front of Yi Chenfeng's eyes. Shuepiaomiao had once again launched a fierce killing move. Several sword lights as fast as lightning pierced through the sky and slashed towards his body. Just as Yi Chenfeng's body was about to be split open again, suddenly crisscrossing patterns appeared in front of Yi Chenfeng's eyes. These patterns were the attack trajectories of the sword lights. Thunderbolt flash. Streaks of lightning formed under his feet. In an instant, he made several unimaginable dodges according to the attack trajectories captured by the God-Eater brain, dodging Shuepiaomiao's sword light. You can actually dodge my attacks. Seeing Yi Chenfeng unscathed and dodging her attacks, Shuepiaomiao's cold face revealed a bewildered expression. Weakness, her weakness is between her eyebrows. As long as you pierce through her forehead, her body will disintegrate. While dodging the attacks, the God-Eater brain finally locked onto her weakness. However, Shuepiaomiao's strength was too terrifying. In order to hit her forehead, one must find a way to get close to her body. Otherwise, long-distance attacks would have no chance at all. Wrath of God's punishment. In the blink of an eye, Yi Chenfeng had already figured out a way to get close to Shuepiaomiao. The black heavenly flames, ancient profound ice, and ancient extreme purple lightning surged out of his body, turning into a 3-colored destructive light ball that shot towards Shuepiaomiao like a meteor. Break! As the destructive light ball approached, Shuepiaomiao's expression didn't change. A spinning sword light shot out and pierced through the destructive light ball, causing it to explode. Rumble! A series of deafening explosions resounded. A powerful force spread out in the world of ice and snow, causing the entire world to distort. Large patches of glaciers were turned into dust. Wind riding technique. The moment the wrath of God's punishment exploded, Yi Chunfeng immediately summoned the golden rock wings and executed the wind riding technique. With extreme speed, he pierced through the destructive storm and approached Xue Piaomiao. Just as Xue Piaomiao's interweaving sword lights attacked, Yi Chunfeng transformed into his strongest beast soul form. Large patches of blood dragon scales covered his entire body. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng, a level 6 mystic beast ancestor, was actually able to execute an ability that only an emperor-level expert could master, Xue Piaomiao was stunned and revealed an astonished expression. Although she regained consciousness in just half a second, this half a second was enough for Yi Chunfeng to get close to her and launch a fatal attack. Flying Immortal Sword. When Yi Chunfeng appeared in front of Xue Piaomiao, he used his hand as a sword and thrusted out a shocking sword. The flying immortal sword that exceeded the speed of light directly pierced through her forehead. In the next moment, crisscrossing cracks appeared on Xue Piaomiao's body. A large amount of pure soul power entered Yi Chunfeng's mind. The world of ice and snow formed by Xue Piaomiao's intent collapse. For mobile users, please visit Chapter 402. Huff huff, I did it. After breaking through Xue Piaomiao's consciousness and returning to the misty illusory realm, Yi Chunfeng let out a long sigh of relief as a faint smile appeared on his pale face. Junior, you are the only person who has passed my test perfectly in the past tens of thousands of years. Unfortunately, you are not a disciple of my Misty Mountain, so I cannot give you any additional rewards. At this moment, Xue Piaomiao's sculpture suddenly opened its eyes as if it had come alive. A beautiful voice that sounded like it came from beyond the heavens came out from the sculpture. Thank you, Senior. I have already gained a lot. Yi Chunfeng did not reveal a trace of regret as he spoke in a calm voice. Lingering on the edge of life and death while accepting Xue Piaomiao's test, Yi Chunfeng's willpower had been greatly tempered. His soul had become stronger, and his soul beast, the two-headed blood dragon king, had grown to 4,000 meters, becoming extremely terrifying. Yi Chunfeng completely believed that as long as he broke the dragon egg and absorbed its essence, he would naturally break through to the level 1 defiant beast king realm. Junior, although I cannot give you any additional rewards, if you can pass the test of the Misty Stone engraving, the stone engraving will give you a generous reward, Xue Piaomiao continued. Senior, what is the reward of the Misty Stone engraving? What is the test of the Misty Stone engraving? Yi Chunfeng asked modestly. The Misty Stone engraving comes from the Heaven Domain, and its test for everyone is different. The stone engraving contains the illusion Dao intent, the sword Dao intent, the saber Dao intent, and the spear Dao intent. If you can pass the test of the Misty Stone engraving, you can comprehend the 4 Dao intents at will, and the time limit is 1 month. 4 Dao intents. Yi Chunfeng knew how precious and terrifying Dao intents were. If he could cultivate his sword Dao to the 2nd or even the 3rd heavenly layer, his attack power would greatly increase. By then, he would be able to kill a level 4 defiant beast king with his sword Dao alone. However, Junior, you are not a disciple of my Misty Mountain. The test of the Misty Stone engraving is far better than that of my Misty Mountain's disciples. Therefore, if you insist on accepting the test of the Misty Stone engraving, you must be mentally prepared. With your strength, you have at most a 20% chance of passing. Senior, if I fail the test, will I die? Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and asked. That's right. You are not a disciple of my Misty Mountain. Once you fail the test, there will only be one outcome, and that is death. Thus, although the Misty Stone inscriptions are a great opportunity, it is also accompanied by great risk. Thank you for your advice, Senior. Junior has decided to accept the test of the Misty Stone inscriptions. Yi Chunfeng had experienced far too many dangers along the way. A mere obstacle would not be able to shake his conviction. He made his decision without hesitation. Since you've made up your mind, I can only wish you good luck. That's right, Senior. If Misty Mountain encounters great danger, can you lend a hand? Thinking of the West Devil Sect's scheme against Misty Mountain, Yi Chenfeng asked. What's wrong? Is Misty Mountain in danger? Shui Piaomiao asked. Yes, Misty Mountain has encountered quite a bit of trouble. Yi Chenfeng nodded and told her about Misty Mountain's current situation. Sigh, I never thought that after nearly 90,000 years of development, the Misty Mountain that I established with my own hands would end up in such a state, being bullied by a mere 7th-grade devil sect. Shui Piaomiao sighed softly and said, however, whether they can survive this calamity or not can only depend on themselves. As for me, I am only a strand of remnant soul left in the soul-returning stone. Once I leave, I will turn into ashes. All right, I've already said what I need to say. Whether you can pass the test of the Misty Stone inscriptions will depend on your ability. If you can pass the test of the Misty Stone inscriptions, I hope that you can help Misty Mountain when it is in danger. When there is a day when you have the opportunity to ascend to the heaven region, I will repay this favor. Senior, rest assured. If something happens to Misty Mountain, Junior will definitely not sit idly by. Furthermore, I believe that Misty Mountain will definitely be able to survive this crisis. After speaking, Yi Chenfeng deeply bowed 3 times towards Shui Piaomiao's statue and walked towards the last layer of the Misty Illusion realm. Passed, Qingfeng has passed Ancestor Misty Mountain's test. Through the Origin Jade Crystal, the Snow Fairy Pond found out that Yi Chenfeng had passed Shui Piaomiao's test. Her calm face revealed a rare smile as she slowly said, What? The Snow Fairy Pond's words were like a demonic voice that echoed in Gao Zhongyan's ears. His eyes were wide open and his mouth was slightly agape. His entire person fell into a sluggish state. Not only was Gao Zhongyan dumbfounded, but Shui Qinglan's heart was also in turmoil. She couldn't believe that Yi Chenfeng had passed Shui Piaomiao's test. Qingfeng, you are indeed powerful. I am looking forward to seeing you shine in the martial competition in Ancient Sky City. Shui Piaomiao breathed a sigh of relief and revealed a charming smile like a blooming flower. She excitedly said in her heart, Yi Chenfeng has gone to the 5th layer of the illusion. When the entire hall was silent, the smile on the Snow Fairy Pond's face suddenly froze. Is he crazy? Did he not listen to my warning and insisted on going to his death? What? Qingfeng has gone to the 5th layer of the illusion. After hearing this news, Shui Piaomiao's heart, which had just calmed down, became tense again as her delicate face paled a bit. As for the gloomy Shui Qinglan and Gao Zhongyan, they revealed a gloating expression. Haha, Yi Chenfeng, I find that you are really naive and cute. You really think that you are qualified to challenge the Misty Stone engraving after passing the Great Ancestors test? Do you know that no one has dared to challenge the Misty Stone engraving for nearly 10,000 years? Just wait to be killed by the Misty Stone engraving. Gao Zhongyan revealed a ferocious expression and declared Yi Chenfeng's death sentence in his heart. Piaomiao, come with me. We will go stop Yi Chenfeng. I hope we can make it in time. Sensing the seriousness of the situation, the Snow Fairy Pond immediately stood up and wanted to bring Shui Piaomiao to the Misty Phantasmagoria to stop Yi Chenfeng from going to the 5th layer of the illusion. Old Sect Master, aren't you worrying too much? That Yi Chenfeng can pass the Great Ancestors test, so he must be extraordinary. Maybe he can create a miracle? Shui Qinglan stood up and stood in front of the Snow Fairy Pond and Shui Piaomiao. Qinglan, I hope you are saying this from the bottom of your heart. The Snow Fairy Pond looked at Shui Qinglan, who stood in front of her, and said with a deep meaning, Are you doubting my loyalty to the Misty Mountain? Shui Qinglan and the Snow Fairy Pond were of the same generation and were both level 6 defiant beast kings. Therefore, Shui Qinglan was not afraid of the Snow Fairy Pond. Qinglan, you have to know how important Yi Chunfeng is to the Misty Mountain. Whether we can survive this catastrophe depends on him. The Snow Fairy Pond solemnly reminded. Old Sect Master, you are underestimating the Misty Mountain. Xue Qinglan said indifferently, the Misty Mountain is full of talents. My grandson Xue Tianyang is only one step away from the defiant Beast King realm. As long as he can make a breakthrough in the next 3 months, he will be able to show disdain in the ancient Sky City martial arts competition. While Xue Qinglan was trying to stop Yi Chunfeng quickly passed through a thin layer of restriction and entered the 5th layer of the Misty Phantasmagoria. He saw the misty stone engraving that was more than 10 meters tall. It was both real and illusory. Its surface was flowing with misty clouds, and it was engraved with a large number of patterns. It looked like a divine steel. When Yi Chunfeng walked under the misty stone engraving, the scene in front of him immediately changed. In just 1 second, he was pulled into the illusory world by the misty stone engraving and could not extricate himself. For mobile users, please visit Chapter 403. A series of deafening roars suddenly entered Yi Chunfeng's ears, waking him up from the illusory world. This is my spiritual beast, the double-headed blood dragon king. When Yi Chunfeng opened his eyes, he found himself in a strange space. A blood-red behemoth was hovering in mid-air, staring at him with hostility. This behemoth was his spiritual beast, the double-headed blood dragon king. The ethereal stone engraving is indeed terrifying. It actually transformed into my spiritual beast, the double-headed blood dragon king, to deal with me. It is indeed a product of the heavenly domain. Yi Chunfeng looked at the double-headed blood dragon king as if he was facing a great enemy. He wanted to fuse with his spiritual beast, increase his strength, and fight with it to tear this illusory space apart. How can it be? My spiritual beast, the double-headed blood dragon king, disappeared. When Yi Chunfeng was fusing with the double-headed blood dragon king, he was shocked to find that the double-headed blood dragon king was gone. He couldn't sense any heaven artifact or treasure. Yi Chunfeng's strength was greatly reduced because he couldn't fuse with the double-headed blood dragon king and summon the king armament. And since he couldn't fuse with his spiritual beast, Yi Chunfeng couldn't transform into his strongest beast soul form. At this moment, the double-headed blood dragon king let out a dragon roar that pierced through clouds and cracked stones. It twisted its huge body of 4,000 meters long and launched an attack with endless bloody light. Wrath of divine punishment. The double-headed blood dragon king's murderous aura surged. Yi Chunfeng didn't hesitate to burn his dragon bloodline. Black flame skyfire, ancient extreme purple thunder, and ancient cold mystic ice immediately gushed out of his body, turning into a 3-colored destructive light ball that bombarded the double-headed blood dragon king like a meteor. Rumble, a thunderous sound exploded, causing the entire space to shake. When the wrath of divine punishment bombarded the 2-headed blood dragon king's huge body, it released a ferocious tide-like power that engulfed the 2-headed blood dragon king. God-Eater Brain Break. The moment the wrath of divine punishment engulfed the double-headed blood dragon king, the power of the God-Eater Brain erupted, radiating in the illusory space, quickly deducing the reality of this space and looking for flaws. Een. 2 furious dragon roars resounded. The destructive storm that seemed to be engulfing the heaven and earth suddenly split open a huge hole. The double-headed blood dragon king, whose entire body was brimming with bloody radiance, broke through the destructive storm and attacked with bared fangs and brandished claws. Sword Dao Pattern, Flaming Dragon Annihilation. Yi Chunfeng's pupils shrank. 10 incomparably sharp sword Dao patterns shot out from his body and rapidly fused together, instantly turning into 9 blazing flame dragons that swept everything in their path towards the 2-headed blood dragon king's huge body. Facing Yi Chunfeng's flame dragon world annihilation and 9 dragons sword slash, the 2-headed blood dragon king didn't slow down. Its huge body pressed forward and relied on its absolute strength to smash through the 9 dragons' sword slash, attacking Yi Chunfeng without slowing down. Wind riding technique. As the two-headed Blood Dragon King approached, Yi Chunfeng's entire body turned into a hurricane and instantly soared in speed. He dodged the attack of the two-headed Blood Dragon King and appeared in midair. However, although he dodged the attack of the two-headed Blood Dragon King, the chi and blood in his body were violently surging due to the dragon prowess emitted by the two-headed Blood Dragon King. There was also a trace of disorder in his chi and blood. In the face of the death threat of the two-headed Blood Dragon King, Yi Chunfeng's heart was as calm as still water. There wasn't a trace of panic on his handsome face. It seemed that no matter how great the danger was, it couldn't shake his firm heart. After the attack was dodged, the eyes of the two-headed Blood Dragon King turned blood-red. It let out an earth-shaking dragon roar and bombarded Yi Chunfeng with earth-shattering force. The dragon roar of the two-headed Blood Dragon King was too terrifying. It caused the spatial airflow to surge rapidly. For a moment, the entire space became chaotic, and a large area of space was distorted. Flying Immortal Sword cut through the void. It was unavoidable. The Sword Dao pattern and the Thunder Dao pattern fused together and turned into an otherworldly sword. It forcibly tore through the distorted void in front of him and weakened the power of the dragon roar. However, the difference in strength between Yi Chunfeng and the two-headed Blood Dragon King was too great. The Flying Immortal Sword was like a boat sailing against the current. It tore through the distorted void for more than 10 meters before it was shattered by the earth-shattering dragon roar. 3 million kilograms of strength, Great Sun Skyfire Fist. The remaining power of the terrifying dragon roar struck. The power of the spiritual bead in the Shunmen acupoint erupted. The black flame Skyfire gushed out of his fist and blasted out a fist light that was like a scorching sun. It was filled with the great Tao concept and bombarded the dragon roar. The heaven and earth shook and it was earth-shattering. The entire space was constantly exploding. The huge collision sound was like the shaking of a divine bell, bursting out with destructive power. PFFF. Facing the dragon roar released by the two-headed Blood Dragon King head-on, Yi Chunfeng's entire body was severely injured. A large amount of blood splattered. His entire body fell from the sky like a kite with a broken string, smashing a big hole in the ground. How can the two-headed Blood Dragon King be so terrifying? Yi Chunfeng found that the strength of the two-headed Blood Dragon King in front of him was far beyond his spiritual beast. His thoughts turned quickly in his mind, and he thought of a possibility. Could it be that the two-headed Blood Dragon King is the power core of this illusory space and also the only flaw? Thinking of this, Yi Chunfeng immediately controlled the power of the God-Eater brain to radiate on the two-headed Blood Dragon King's huge body, looking for its physical flaw. That is, under the heaven-defying deduction of the God-Eater brain, Yi Chunfeng unexpectedly found that the two-headed Blood Dragon King's huge body was illusory and non-existent, and what led its attack was an illusory light ball in its head. Illusion Dao Intent. That light ball is condensed from the Illusion Dao Intent and the power of the ethereal stone inscription. The God-Eater brain quickly deduced the reality of the illusory light ball in the head of the two-headed Blood Dragon King. At this time, the two-headed Blood Dragon King, whose eyes were blood-red and full of killing intent, attacked again. It opened its bloody mouth and bit Yi Chunfeng. 7 Swords of Judgment, Extreme Cold. When the two-headed Blood Dragon King approached, 10 sword Dao patterns turned into extreme cold sword lights and pierced the illusory light ball in the head of the two-headed Blood Dragon King at an extremely fast speed. Being attacked by the extreme cold sword lights, the surface of the illusory light ball flashed with dense illusion Dao intent, resisting the attack of the extreme cold sword light. However, the two-headed Blood Dragon King was not affected at all. It turned into a bloody light and slammed into Yi Chunfeng, forcing him to dodge with all his strength. However, the two-headed Blood Dragon King's collision was extremely powerful. It formed a dense energy halo in the void and ruthlessly bombarded Yi Qinfeng's body, shattering his body's defense and sending him flying. A large amount of blood sprayed out from his mouth. Although Yi Qinfeng was injured by the two-headed Blood Dragon King's collision, the high-speed operation of the God-Eater brain always sensed the profundity of the illusion Tao intent the instant the illusory light ball flashed. It quickly deduced. If the God-Eater brain could deduce the truth of the illusion Tao intent, Yi Qinfeng would be able to use his understanding of the illusion Tao intent to find the flaw and break through the illusory light ball in one fell swoop, breaking this illusory space. Wind riding technique. While the God-Eater brain was deducing the illusion Tao intent, Yi Qinfeng controlled the 10 life Tao patterns to heal his heavy injuries. He summoned the Golden Rock Wings, burned the Golden Rock Bloodline, and executed the wind riding technique to quickly dodge the ferocious attacks launched by the two-headed Blood Dragon King, stalling for time. Time flowed by minute by minute. Yi Qinfeng was like a bolt of lightning, shifting and shifting in the chaotic space to dodge the attacks of the two-headed Blood Dragon King. However, the two-headed Blood Dragon King was too terrifying, and the entire space was destroyed by it into chaos. A large number of attacks repeatedly bombarded Yi Qinfeng's body, aggravating his injuries. If it wasn't for Yi Qinfeng's strong physical body, dragon bloodline, and life Tao intent, he wouldn't have been able to hold on. Roar, roar, roar. Just as Yi Qinfeng used all his skills to dodge with all his strength, the frenzied two-headed Blood Dragon King continuously let out deafening dragon roars and bombarded Yi Qinfeng, causing his soul to tremble violently, and a trace of delay appeared in his reaction. Although Yi Qinfeng regained consciousness in an instant, this fleeting moment was enough to be fatal. The two-headed Blood Dragon King's terrifying eyes locked onto Yi Qinfeng. It twisted its huge body, turned into a glaring blood light, and launched a fatal blow at Yi Qinfeng, who had a trace of delay in his reaction. For mobile users, please visit Chapter 404. God-Eater Brain, Break the Illusion Tao Intent. On the brink of life and death, Yi Qinfeng was abnormally calm. Under the threat of death, the God-Eater Brain, whose deduction speed had reached the peak, finally deduced the illusion Tao intent and forcefully cracked it. 7 Swords of Judgment, Waning Moon. When the layers of illusion Tao intent on the surface of the illusory light sphere were forcefully stripped by the God-Eater Brain, Yi Qinfeng transformed into a sword and executed the greatest killing move he had mastered. 5 Slaughter Halos appeared behind him. The surging slaughter energy, sword Tao pattern, lightning Tao pattern, dragon blood energy, and 1.5 million kilograms of force fused together and condensed into a demonic waning moon. It bombarded the head of the two-headed Blood Dragon King at close range. Yi Qinfeng could be said to have used all his trump cards in this sword attack, and his attack power was perfectly displayed. If this sword attack failed, the two-headed Blood Dragon King's explosive power would be enough to shatter his body. Boom! The waning moon sword light bombarded the head of the two-headed Blood Dragon King with irresistible force and forcefully split open a crack on its head. Under the forceful stripping by the God-Eater Brain, the illusion Tao intent on the surface of the illusory light sphere was weakened to the extreme, and the sword intent mixed with various forces directly penetrated the illusory light sphere. Gotcha! A clear cracking sound echoed. After losing the protection of the illusion Tao intent, the defensive power of the illusory light sphere became extremely weak and was directly penetrated and shattered by the waning moon sword light. Roar! The two-headed Blood Dragon King, who launched the fatal attack, roared in pain. Its enormous body shattered inch by inch along with the illusory light sphere and finally turned into endless illusory light that disappeared in the chaotic space. When the illusory light sphere shattered and the two-headed Blood Dragon King disappeared, the entire illusory space shattered along with it. But before Yi Qinfeng had a chance to catch his breath, the faintly discernible stone inscription that flowed with the light of Tao insight appeared above his head, and it pressed down on Yi Qinfeng's body like a mountain. Two-headed blood dragon king, fuse with 1.5 million kilograms of force. After returning to the real world, Yi Chunfeng didn't hesitate to fuse with the two-headed blood dragon king and activate the power of the spiritual pearl in his Shenmen acupoint. He erupted with 1.5 million kilograms of force, wanting to forcibly resist the suppression of the Misty Stone inscription. But the moment his hands held the Misty Stone inscription, a force beyond his imagination penetrated his arms, directly shattering his arms and injuring his arm bones. A large amount of blood flowed out uncontrollably. Dragon bloodline burning, beast soul form. With the Misty Stone inscription on his arms injured, Yi Chunfeng immediately transformed into his strongest beast soul form. The Misty Stone inscriptions covered his body form's power. His body's strength increased to 1.5 million kilograms of force. His strength's strength. Soul's death's forces' covered S's bloods. His trembling legs were pressed into the hard ground bit by the Misty Stone carvings. A large amount of blood flowed out from his severely injured arm and dyed his clothes red. Attack! With half of his body crushed into the ground by the Misty Stone inscription, Yi Chunfeng, whose body was about to collapse, immediately controlled the 10 Dao patterns of life to repair his severely injured arms. The Dao patterns of sword and Dao patterns of thunder blended together and bombarded the Misty Stone inscription. However, the Misty Stone inscription came from the heaven region and was extremely hard. The 10 Dao patterns of sword and Dao patterns of thunder couldn't do any damage to it. Damn it, how can I break the Misty Stone inscription's attack? His body's injuries kept worsening, and Yi Chunfeng, who couldn't hold on any longer, kept thinking of ways to deal with it. Executing the life-soul technique might be able to increase his strength for a short period of time, but judging from the Misty Stone inscription's power, even if Yi Chunfeng had the strength of a Class 6 Defiant Beast King, he wouldn't be able to reverse the situation. It seems like I can only rely on the Chaos Divine Wood. Thinking of the other great treasure he had, Yi Chunfeng immediately communicated with the Chaos Divine Wood and summoned the Chaos Divine Wood with 2 tender leaves, pressing it against the Misty Stone inscription. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The moment the Chaos Divine Wood made contact with the Misty Stone inscription, the energy halo rippled on the surface of the Misty Stone inscription. The terrifying power caused the entire void to have crisscrossing cracks. In the next moment, the Chaos Divine Wood sensed the mysterious power hidden in the Misty Stone inscription. Thousands of green roots extended out and broke into the indestructible Misty Stone inscription like a hot knife through butter. It greatly reduced the pressure on Yi Chunfeng. Incredible! The roots of the Chaos Divine Wood actually broke the Misty Stone inscription. When Yi Chunfeng saw that the Chaos Divine Wood had completely restrained the Misty Stone inscription, he let out a long breath of relief. He kept injecting soul power into the Chaos Divine Wood and fully controlled it to resist the Misty Stone inscription's suppression. God-Eater Brain, deduce the Tao intent of sword and Tao intent of illusion. While the Chaos Divine Wood was devouring the Misty Stone inscription's power and resisting its suppression, the God-Eater Brain released powerful soul power and infused it into the Misty Stone inscription, forcibly deducing the Tao intent it contained. At the same time, a dozen figures appeared outside the Misty Illusion's 5th illusion space. The Snow Fairy Pond, Shui Piaoling, Shui Qinglan, Gao Zhongyan, and the others gathered outside the 5th illusion space. Master, can you sense Chengfeng's current situation through the Origin Jade Crystal? Shui Piaoling's heart was in a mess. She looked at the dark illusion space through the violently fluctuating restriction and asked anxiously. She was very afraid that Yi Chunfeng would have an accident. The Origin Jade Crystal can't sense Chengfeng's situation. The Snow Fairy Pond shook her head and said gravely, but it can sense the Misty Stone inscription's situation. According to the information from the Origin Jade Crystal, The misty stone inscription has already erupted with extreme power. This power is enough to crush an emperor. It's already a miracle that Yi Chunfeng is still alive now. Hearing the Snow Fairy Pond's words, Shui Piaoling seemed to have lost all her strength. Her body swayed slightly. There was no trace of blood on her delicate face. Her heart was filled with despair and sorrow. However, Shui Qinglan and Gao Zhongyan showed gloating smiles. "Yu Qin, you'll get your revenge soon. You can rest in peace in the underworld." Gao Zhongyan's eyes flashed with a sinister light as he said in his heart, "Master, nothing can happen to Chunfeng. Can you save him?" Shui Piaoling grabbed the Snow Fairy Pond's arm tightly and begged bitterly. "Ah, Piaoling, you should know the origin of the Misty Stone inscription. Even the Great Elder can't shake it, let alone me." The Snow Fairy Pond sighed softly and said, "All we can do now is to pray that he can create a miracle." "Miracle? Do you really think miracles can happen so easily?" Shui Qinglan sneered and said in his heart. He had already sentenced Yi Chunfeng to death in his heart. Time passed by, but the Snow Fairy Pond and the others still didn't hear the news of Yi Chunfeng's death. How can it be? It's been 6 hours. How can he still be alive with the strength of a 6th-grade profound beast ancestor? Shui Qinglan and Gao Zhongyan were in disbelief. They didn't dare to imagine that Yi Chunfeng could survive 6 hours in the face of the Misty Stone inscription that could kill an emperor-level expert. Yes, the power of the Misty Stone inscription has begun to fade. How did he do it? Can he really create a miracle? At this moment, the Snow Fairy Pond felt the power of the Misty Stone inscription rapidly weakening through the origin jade crystal. Her face was filled with horror. What? Shui Qinglan and Gao Zhongyan were dumbfounded when they heard the Snow Fairy Pond's exclamation. Miracle, he really created a miracle. If Yi Chunfeng doesn't die, he will definitely stand at the top of the Duhan continent in the future. The Snow Fairy Pond took a deep breath and suppressed the shock in her heart. She wasn't stingy with her praise. Chunfeng really created a miracle. Our Misty Mountain is saved. Shui Piaoling's beautiful face revealed a charming smile. She kept praying for Yi Chunfeng in her heart. Just as Shui Piaoling and the others were waiting with different feelings, a loud shattering sound was heard, causing the entire misty illusion to shake. There was another shocking change in the 5th illusion. For mobile users, please visit